Welcome to the first ever Big Picture Radio Free Endor crossover episode. I'm afraid Nikki had to bow out at the last hour or so, but I do have two great guests. Luke, previous guest of Big Picture Radio. Hey, Luke.
Hello.
And then we got friend of the show, Jamie from the UK. Thanks for staying up with us, Jamie.
That's not a problem. Hello.
So, guys, we have this huge movie, not only to discuss, plot-wise, but also the box office. It is just, this movie has exploded, becoming it's number 2 domestically. It's gonna overtake Avatar at the domestic box office for sure. It's still like number 5 all time, but it's gonna make it up there, I think. Definitely number 3. I think it has a good shot at beating Titanic. We'll talk about Avatar in a couple months, but
I thought it beat Titanic.
No, yeah. Domestically, the U.S. box office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm. In the UK, it took 94.6 million.
Wow.
That's what it says in the UK so far.
Wow, and it's number 1 for you guys, right? All time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I've had to book tickets. Where is it? A week? Well, how many? No, it's more than that now, isn't it? How many weeks now has it been? And I saw it on New Year's Day, and I still had to book tickets to get my seats.
Yep. So first, as we do in Big Picture Radio, this will immediately be a radio-free Endor episode, but we still want to get a little bit into the box office. According to, and we always go to proboxoffice.com because I think they have the greatest analysis. They always have great articles. But no, I've never had pro.boxoffice.com contact with these guys. I just always been using their site. So this week, in the third week for The Force Awakens, it's got 88.3 million. We got Daddy's Home, the new comedy with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. It's doing pretty well. The Hateful Eight, of course, started out with the Roadshow, which I saw, and if you want our thoughts, you can check out the latest episode of Big Picture Radio. And then Sisters, the Tina Fey comedy, still with a strong 12.5, and then Alvin the Chipmunks rounding out with that another family movie, I suppose, like Star Wars, 11.8. So, anything else stand out to you guys that we haven't really already discussed about the numbers? I'm not sure how it is in the UK. I haven't looked at the UK numbers, but
Well, like I said, it's took 94.6 million. Apart from that, I've not really kept track of it. All on the TV, it's actually come up. Oh, it's on track to beat Titanic and Avatar. So Disney must be like rolling in the cash.
Yeah. I mean, like at our theater, the Hateful Eight did okay. Because I work at a movie theater, of course. I've said that dozens of times in Big Picture Radio. But, I mean, the next week, The Revenant goes wide, so I think that'll do pretty well. I think I think it has a good shot at number 2. I think it will be. I think The Revenant, because that's really the only other thing that's coming out. And it's going wide, so I think Revenant will be like number 2. I'm not sure what the movie costs like $130 million, so I'm guessing they're going to want a lot for their investment. It's a period piece, and it's got Leonardo DiCaprio, so
it's an Oscar winner there, isn't it?
Yep.
That's what I've heard. It's going to be an Oscar winner.
Yep.
I'll just say that the Hateful Eight doesn't open here in the UK till the 8th of January, so it's not out yet.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I have yet to see that movie. I heard it's really good.
Yeah, and you definitely should see the Roadshow version of it.
The 70mm?
Yeah, the 70mm Roadshow.
I don't think they're going to be doing that in England. We seem to miss out on a lot of these things.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
I believe that's going on at my local theater.
I'm sure in Chicago. It's even some smaller theaters it's playing, even smaller towns. I'm not sure how far, since Chicago's a big place, I'm not sure how far the theater, but probably, I mean, really a lot of the theaters at my city are playing the 70mm, so I'm sure the same as with Chicago.
Closest theater is 2 miles away from me, so I'm all right.
Yeah, I think so. The theater I went to was the AFI Silver, and they're all prepped. They're always ready to play 70 millimeter. So that was definitely a cool thing to do. If you ever come to DC, definitely check out the AFI Silver in Silver Spring. So shout out to those guys.
Sweet, I'm gonna be in DC in March.
And I will probably already be living in Columbus. So, oh well.
So close yet so far.
But I could be wrong, but most likely I will be living in Columbus. So
I'll have to check all this on Google Maps.
yes, Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
So yeah, I think we can go ahead and just move on to like I said, the Revenant, definitely the next. I mean, it could come out with 30 or 40 million. You know, I think it'll do better than the Hateful Eight. But you know, so anyway.
Did see a trailer for it when I saw it on New Year's Day. I did see a trailer for that. It looked just strange because my son, who was 7, he went, "Is this a Robin Hood film?" And I went, "No,
no,
no."
This is the guy who brought you Birdman. So
I would say it's closer to like a Clockwork Orange than a Robin Hood.
That's what it looks like to me. The whole bear almost being raped by a bear or something. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I did hear about this all over the internet about this being raped by a bear. And didn't they come out with a statement saying there was no raping going on? Or something
right.
Like
It was just a brawl.
Yeah, and the bear was female. The bear was female or something.
I see.
Yeah.
Because wasn't it supposed to be the bear that raping Leonardo or something?
Yeah, it was supposed to be something like that.
Yeah, strange. Yeah, I did see the funny Facebook post with Jim Carrey when he's going from Ace Ventura, the second one. You seen that one where he's coming? He's being reborn, should we say? There was some Facebook posts about that. I thought that was funny.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So I did before we get in the review of the TFA. I did want to briefly give Jason Wiggreen a little honor. He's the original voice of Boba Fett. So if you go online, you can type in like original voice, and then you go to like he's the original voice, and then what's his name? I'm blanking out on his name now. Tamara Morrison. He's the new, of course, Jango Fett. He's the new voice. To make it, to create some more continuity there, I can understand why they did it.
Yeah.
I
didn't like
Bullock.
it.
No, Jeremy Bullock, I think
he was the body actor for Boba.
He was just the body actor. I think he said lines, and I think you can actually go online and...
In the Blu-ray cut, he is the voice of Boba. I know that much.
Okay.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was Mr. Morrison on that version as well.
Yeah, let me check that. I could be wrong.
I mean, I know there's I think there's like behind the scenes stuff of him voicing it, but he doesn't sound that charismatic. I can see why he doesn't sound that compelling, to be honest. So I can see why they got a new voice. So.
I'll tell you what, I was until you, Jonathan, told me about it. I did not know that this guy had done his voice. I must have been. That's one of those. I could have been stumped on a trivia question on that one.
But now you know.
But I was just researching it, and he originally auditioned for the voice of Yoda for Empire Strikes Back. So
right, that would be very different. Very different.
Yeah, it'd be Brooklyn, wouldn't it? It'd be a Brooklyn accent for Yoda.
Yeah.
That'd be funny. Yeah, it looks like this guy. It looks like it wasn't him. It looks like you can get it on the Blu-ray, like a behind the scenes of Jeremy Bullock's voice, but it was Tamara Morrison.
Yeah. So it looks like Jason Wiggreen was 95 years old when he died. So very, very good age. That's how old my grandpa is on my dad's side. So, all right. So I guess we can go ahead and move on. Moving on to the rest of this will just be a review of The Force Awakens. So yes, this is Star Wars, The Force Awakens, or you could say Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. I don't think we want to go down that rabbit hole of why they did that, but of course, in the opening crawl, we did get Episode 7, The Force Awakens, and that was just...
I would have sat there and gone, this ain't a Star Wars film if that didn't happen, to tell the truth. You know what I mean? Just had to. It just had to be there. Also, when I went to see it on premiere night, It's 12:05. Do you know during when the opening credits come up, where it comes up with Lucasfilm, nearly all of the cinema were all going bum 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 for the 20th Century Fox fanfare.
Oh, yeah.
It was so funny. I thought, this is brilliant. This is just so cool.
And you also you got a few audio clips as well, right?
Yeah, I thought to myself, I'd get there early, and when I got there was no queue, but there was some people that were sitting around the corner on these seats. So I started talking to them, and a couple of them were dressed up as Jedis and Stormtroopers, and it would look pretty well. When I say Stormtrooper, you know what a onesie is? You get onesies in America? It's like yeah, you know what I mean. And you had a Stormtrooper one. I thought it was just so funny. So I just asked them if I could just get a couple of sound bites, and they were more than pleased to have a quick chat. And from 8 o'clock, I was chatting to them till just before we went into the screen at about 20 to 12. And the time just flew by because there was dads with their kids. So I was like, they were there when I first went, and now they're sort of like doing the circle of life sort of thing by bringing their kids to see the film. It was magical. It was just brilliant. I could have talked all day with them. It was just brilliant.
This is Jamie for Radio Free Endor, and I'm at the premiere in Leicester. I'm just going to grab some people who are queuing up for the film. Got a chap in front of me now, dressed as a Jedi. He looks fantastic. What are your expectations for the film tonight?
Honestly, I don't actually have any expectations for this film. But what I'm excited about seeing is the original cast. That's the biggest thing with this film. It's seeing these original characters back with practical effects. And giving that old-fashioned feel to a film that you didn't get.
Yeah.
You don't get from films anyway.
I take it you're a fan of the original trilogy. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of film in general, so that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, personally, I can't wait for the beginning music to start up. What about you, yourself?
I'm Devin. Yeah, I'm really excited. So J.J. Abrams and all the cast has worked really hard on this. I know they've done a great job with practical effects, everything like that. I think obviously the reviews are all coming out now, so slightly skeptical after
trying to stay Twitter free
after the Phantom Menace, stuff like that. Slightly letting you down, but I think it's going to be great. I'm
proper looking forward to it.
Yeah, because until today I've been quite sceptical about it because obviously everyone remembers 1999 and being quite excited for it and then being let down.
Yeah, myself. I remember being in the queue for it myself.
But because of the reviews that have been coming out and saying it's going to be really good, I've actually gotten really excited for it, and I'm just hoping it's going to be a good film.
Thank you very much. How about you, sir? What's you probably remember the first time, like me?
Yeah, I was there in 77, 80 and 83.
Oh, yeah. You're on opening night for 77?
Yes, yeah.
Myself, yeah.
I come back, because the Millennium Falcon shots when they're shooting the TIE fighters.
Yes.
I actually come back home and was swinging on my living room door. The windows were white.
Yeah. You got all the toys as well?
Oh, yeah, went for it, yeah.
Funny enough, I was looking at an old catalogue, and the prices of the Falcon were only £13.
Yeah, I know.
An AT-AT was only £14, and a speeder bike was £2.
Yeah.
And I used to think, am I going to get that kind of money to buy that?
Yeah.
Is this your son?
It's Callum.
Yeah. My name's Callum. I've only seen Star Wars probably when I was like 10. I loved it straight away.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for this.
I like your onesie.
Thank you.
A Stormtrooper onesie.
Yeah. I'm really excited for this film. I've seen the reviews on the internet. Brilliant.
We've bought into it, with the reviews, Chris Stuckman, is it? He's reviewed a couple of, it's like, right, we're building up, we've been watching a bit every night.
Yeah.
Apart from the spoiler ones. Even if they're just speculating, it's like, I don't want to know yet.
Yeah, I don't mind people speculating about it.
Yeah.
But I don't want people who have gone in to see it or sneak previewed it and then got to whack it out.
Yeah. It's like today, we've come home and there's some reviews and I'm like, well, the reviews I've just read are ones that gave nothing away. They said, look, it's brilliant, it made me cry in 4 places and there's some humour in it. I thought, great, I'm happy with that. That's good enough for me. I'll go after and watch, some more detailed reviews after. But
Yeah.
I want to see them.
Myself, once I've seen the film, I'll be back and I'll be doing a little bit of research. What did the other people think about it?
Yeah.
But some of the famous tweets that are going out at the moment, they've all been told to keep it spoiler free. But what I'm hearing is all positive stuff, and some people saying it's as good as Empire. The story, and it's you're going to go through a full range of emotions on this. I personally can't wait to see the Falcon fly again myself.
Because the clips when it's hitting a bit of the sand,
What do you reckon to the international trailers?
I've seen all.
Do you think they show too much?
Well, after seeing the first one, and then they all started drip feeding, I was like, I don't know whether to watch anymore, because there's, like I say, there's quite a lot coming through on them now. But I can't undo what I've seen, because McEwen, I've fed a bit of McEwen, so there'll be more. You know what I mean? So.
I must admit, the international trailers, it was like, this is unbelievable. Seeing the Falcon coming out of the trees.
It's made it more real, isn't it? Going through them in sort of environments.
To see it fly again has been fantastic. All right, I'll just round up. Thank you very much for coming on, and I hope you all enjoy the film. I'll probably grab you afterwards. Thank you very much. Still at the cinema, and we're sitting down ready for the start of the film, which should be in about 30 minutes. I'm sitting next to a friend of mine, Mick, and just a quick word.
Hi, Jeremy.
What are you expecting from this film?
Well, I'll be honest with you, I've actually approached this film very much like the very, very first Star Wars: A New Hope. Not knowing anything about it, I have got no idea what the soundtrack sounds like. I've got no idea what the characters are. I don't even know the name. I've heard a couple, but I've not really registered them.
What about the trailers? Have you seen any of the trailers?
I've seen all the trailers, and obviously, I had a little tear in my eye when I saw Han Solo saying, "Oh, Chewie, we're home." But I've approached it in the same way. So I've got like a fresh expectation of not knowing anything, and I prefer that. I enjoy a film much better that way. I've said the trailers don't spoil it, because you see trailers in the cinema.
Have you found that on this occasion we've got no idea of the story?
No.
The way they've done these trailers is that you can't even say, well, is this at the beginning? We've just got no idea. We've just seen the bits that make your heart want more.
And I think that's the art of making a good trailer, is you don't want to give away the plot of the film. You don't want to give anything out, because how many times have you seen a film and you said, oh, all the best bits were in the trailer? So
many times,
exactly. So I'm hoping that this isn't the case. I don't think it will be. I'm really excited about this, and I'm expecting great things. And like I say, we've seen some young fans who are the same age as when I first started seeing Star Wars, so I'm looking forward to it.
We've been chatting to some of the fans that are here tonight, and most of them started with the prequel trilogy, but there is some here that started with the original trilogy that we started when we were kids. It's good how the two generations are bonding and talking and enjoying the legacy of Star Wars.
Exactly. As I was saying to one of the young fans, I says the beauty about this kind of franchise is that it's brought everybody together, and I'm not just talking about young and old. We're talking about different genders, different religions. If it comes into it, I mean, there's all different creeds in this cinema alone, and that's what it's all about. Worldwide, it's like that.
Yeah.
And Mr. Lucas, you've created a fantastic thing, and I hope Disney continue to uphold your ideas.
But you're right, everybody is one here.
And you,
as one.
Yeah, I mean, you do need a certain escapism from the world outside. Because so you come in here, you leave your troubles at the door, and everybody's one in it. I mean, everybody's got the same interest.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
It's all about the wars.
Exactly.
It's all about the wars. Right. Thanks for that, Mick. What we'll do is after the film. And on the journey back, we'll discuss it, try and do a spoiler-free discussion of it.
Oh, yes.
And we'll see what we thought about it.
That's great. Look forward to it.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, so great to hear from the fans about their anticipation and, for this new movie.
They're really excited. It was such a fantastic atmosphere. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, as far as my experience goes, I was coming from this volunteer thing, and I got there like about 30 minutes before, and there was already a line, and I didn't get the reserved seating theater. I just got the theater that was close to my house, and I just thought, I'll just go to this theater, catch the 7:30 showing, 2D, and I'll just wait in this line. Just kind of the old-fashioned kind of thing. It's the movie theaters in a mall. It was not like I had to wait outside or anything. So it was a good time, and I saw some costumes and such. Not a whole lot, but it was a lot of fun. So.
Well, the time I was chatting with the guys. Until because believe it or not, when I was chatting with them, I didn't even have my ticket. My mate had the tickets, and he wasn't even there, and he would come in about 11 o'clock, and I was saying, "Oh, please come! It's going to be so embarrassing if they let us in early, and I haven't got my ticket." But when it actually he finally came up, and I started talking to him, and then they just let us all run in. They said, you have the screens open. So we all just legged it in and got a seat. They didn't even have a look at my ticket. It was strange. I could have just got it for free.
I had an almost opposite experience to where they had us go in single file into the theater, and they would check our tickets.
Yeah.
And for the costuming, there was a Kylo Ren, a very screen accurate Kylo Ren there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And there was a these mashed up Pulp Fiction Star Wars Jedi Knights there. Very cool.
Did he have his lightsaber?
Oh yes.
Because we've actually been banned from taking in the UK cinemas. It says if anyone takes a lightsaber or a blaster, they won't be given entrance in.
Yeah.
Huh.
Not at your theater, Luke?
He had one of those glow up lightsabers.
Yeah.
So I was surprised at that, but he was given entry, and the people with the Jedi Pulp Fiction guys were given entry.
I mean, because at the theater I work at, we have this sign that says no mask, face paint, or weapons allowed. And if they do bring them, we can just store them behind the desk. So it's not like they're necessarily banned. I personally haven't seen people with face paint. I didn't work opening night or during the day. I worked the day shift on Friday, and it was crazy. It was a madhouse. I just seen the Star Wars Thursday night, and then I worked Friday from 8:30 because there was a 9:45 showing. And we still have 9:45 showings every single day. We have 6 showings, like 5 2D and then 3 3D or something. And
that's a lot of screens.
We start from 9:45, and then our theater, the first movie's at 9:45, and the final showing of Star Wars is probably at 10:50 or something, or 11. We don't really have a lot of screens. We only use 2 or 3, to be honest, for Star Wars. So, actually, opening night, I think we used 4 screens. Yeah, we used 4 screens opening night, but right now we're just using 3.
My local cinema, I think it's got 15 screens. 15 screens. And they were playing it on, I think, 5 of them. 5 screens. Or it could be more. Because as I was running down to the big one, to the big screen, the IMAX screen at the end of the corridor, I was going, oh, no, it's on all these screens. And there's 2 sort of corridors adjacent to each other. So one will have so many screens, entrances, and the opposite corridor will have so many. Will have the others. A lot of screens. So, do you find it was still busy on every screening at yours?
Yeah, for sure. The theater I work at versus the theater where I saw the movie. The one where I saw the movie, that's at a Regal. That's our biggest chain. And then the one I work at is a smaller company. But I think they were both. It was. I think all the screenings when I worked, they were all booked. Not 100%, but the only seats that were left in the showings were the front 2 rows. So that's when people say we've had only 2 or 3 sold out screenings, but we have had a lot of screenings where we only have like the front section and maybe like row A and B, which is like, you're looking up at it. So right now, most likely I'll go in and I'll look at the computer since we can look at reserved seating. It's going to be totally booked. So
did any of you guys see it in 3D?
I did.
The third time I saw it in 3D. ETX AMC's big format. Unfortunately, I was a little tired. I saw a 10 a.m. showing, and I was a little tired, so I couldn't keep my eyes open the whole time. So,
what do you guys think of the 3D? Because I don't know if you can tell me, it wasn't filmed in 3D, was it? It's been converted. It's a post-conversion.
I'm pretty sure it's been post-conversion. I didn't hear anything about filmed in 3D.
Well, I thought the 3D was unbelievable. I thought this was because my friend, he says, I can't believe they filmed it in 3D. I went, no, I think it's a conversion. And usually conversions are not that good, but this one was.
Yeah, definitely one of the better conversions. I've seen.
The first screening I went to was the big IMAX screen in 3D with the surround sound rumble seats.
Oh yeah.
So I would recline back in the seat, and when the spoiler alert Starkiller base blew up, it went up your nose. And I was sitting all the way in the back row.
Wow.
It was very, very magical.
Yeah.
What's Kylo Ren's ship called? The big Star Destroyer.
Yes, the Star Destroyer.
Yeah, there's a bit in the film where it's coming towards you, and even I put my head back, and my son, when I took my son to see it, and he went, "Oh my God, it's going to hit me!" I kept saying, "Shh." It's so good. It was just so good.
We do have your from your kid. You did send me a transcript of all the stuff he said.
Yeah, he made me laugh. He just made me laugh so much because I said to him, whisper it. And so, the opening crawl, I was reading it to him, and then he kept going, "Oh my God, look at that." Oh, and I was like, my wife, who was sitting on the opposite side, she kept just looking at me again. Shh.
Yeah.
Well, a 7-year-old, but I was in awe of how he was experiencing it because my mother, she took me to see Star Wars when I was 7, and I've just took my son, who's 7, to see his first Star Wars film on the big screen. So it was just like a magical moment for me.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, the second time I saw it, I skipped over the second time, but the second time I saw it at the Smithsonian, in the Air and Space Museum here in DC, and it was like one of those we probably have 8 or 9 theaters that have IMAX, but I say IMAX in quotes. It's like the screen isn't that big, but the sound is great. And the picture is great, but we do have a few screen 70 millimeter IMAX screens. In the DC area, we have 4 or 5, and 2 of them play feature. Well, one of them usually just plays feature films, but for Star Wars, they thought, let's just expand it to 2 of our theaters. So luckily for Star Wars, they played it at the Air and Space Museum in DC versus outside in Chantilly, and seeing that in 70 millimeter. When we get to the Jakku Millennium Falcon scene, I'll point it out. But there was a part where it's the regular widescreen, and then for that IMAX screen, scene, it expands to all 5 stories of our IMAX screen, and it was amazing. My parents, I asked my parents about it, and they're like, "What? What are you talking about?" They had no idea what I was talking about. They could, when it expanded. I don't know how you can miss it, but it goes from a smaller screen, like a regular movie theater, to 5 stories. That Jakku scene was amazing.
I know exactly what you mean because the first time I went to the IMAX screen in Bradford, it was the only place at the time in the northern England. I went to see Tron Legacy. You guys are familiar with Tron Legacy, I take it.
Yeah.
And when Sam Flynn goes into the digital world, that is when it suddenly went boom. You know what I mean? Massive. The screen just opened up. And if I remember rightly, the guy who directed it, he wanted it to be similar to how we would perceive the Wizard of Oz, go from from black and white to colour. That's how he wanted it. So it was like in normal widescreen, then bam, IMAX. So like what you were saying with the Force Awakens, I can just imagine that. Because in the IMAX screen, I saw it happened as well, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, like there's a picture online showing the comparison between the digital widescreen and the 70 millimeter IMAX. It is like they show so much. It's just in the regular widescreen, it's like really a lot of it's just cut out, but the widescreen it just shows everything. So
yeah. I also I like how if you watched A New Hope, and then you watched The Force Awakens, the picture quality is really similar, but in a new kind of way. Does that sound strange? It's like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it could, when you got the prequels, they look nothing like this. Nothing like this. You're virtually looking at a computer game compared to this film. This film just looked beautiful. There's so many shots in this film that just made me just go, oh, I want that as a painting. I want that as wallpaper. I want that on my TV on my PC as wallpaper and stuff like that. I just want it.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah. So I do want to start out as far as the story, story goes. So, of course, it talks about 70 years after Return of the Jedi, which is, we have the EU legends of telling the stuff that happened after Return of the Jedi, but as far as like the real story, I know we've been waiting for this for like over 30 years. And we start out and Luke Skywalker has vanished. So it's not something I think we would have expected. Our hero, we would have expected him to be full front, but no, it's the new characters 30 years later. Really these newer characters are the ones that I think Disney and Lucasfilm, they're putting forward, this is the new generation. We're not just starting out with Luke, Han, and Chewie and Leia. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I must, when you see what Disney have done with publicising their new characters, they kind of fooled us with some of the characters, of Captain Phasma and stuff like that. They said, I suppose as we go along we'll discuss it, but there was they've said a lot about these characters being, they're doing a hell of a lot in the film, yet they didn't. So the main story is just on the two characters. For me, it was just Finn and Rey. Poe Dameron, when they had him in the beginning and disappeared. Towards the end, and I could have followed that film just with them two and not have any of the classic characters come into it. It was just so engrossing.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they say that this is like the last Jedi, the Force, the First Order. I thought that was, whenever they said First Order, I kept thinking of New Order, like New Order of the Jedi, but no, it's the First Order. And I think there is something interesting that we'll get into. It's the First Order versus the Resistance, which is a very interesting thing because it's the Resistance, but what exactly are they resisting? Because the Resistance, you would think, would be resisting, another faction. So, like, resisting something in the New Republic. So I'm kind of I've always been wondering why it's not like the New Republic versus the First Order. And I think that maybe some of those questions will be answered in the next movie, but I guess I thought it's just that this Resistance is like a faction that's somehow that's been supported by the New Republic, but it's still kind of different. At least that's what I've gotten.
I can give you an answer to that actually, because they sort of go into that a bit in the book or novelization.
Oh yeah. I've only started the novelization. I kind of forgot about it, but I've read some of the novelization.
I've got the audio book.
Oh man, I heard the audiobook's really good actually.
Is it? I've not read it. I've not started it yet. I'm gonna when I go back to work, that's the first thing I'm gonna listen to.
Yeah. What I heard, it was like it's like the Resistance is the resistance to the New Order, and they're sort of like an underground thing, sort of funded by bits and pieces of the New Republic. But if you were to think about what happened in the movie, spoiler alert, when Starkiller Base destroyed the whole entire New Republic, they're more or less going to become the new rebellion style, like militia. And I feel like Episode 8 will probably go a bit more underground, underworldy.
Doesn't C-3PO say, what are we going to do without the Republic?
Yeah.
Somewhat of that.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, both of them are in shambles now, because the First Order probably lost, like, majority of their army in the destruction of Starkiller Base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and of course we got that original casting photo with them around the table, and Max von Sydow, a Swedish actor who I've seen a couple of his older films, like The Seventh Seal.
The Exorcist.
Yes, The Exorcist.
Judge Dredd.
Yeah. Yeah, I have not seen it.
He was also in Skyrim. He was a dragon.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, and he's kind of our intro, and he's taken out pretty soon, but he's telling, but before that he is telling Poe, like, without the Jedi, it's, there's just no hope, and I think that's just interesting that we kind of, I guess in a way I can kind of see how here's an example of how the original Star Wars is so much like it, because they need a new hope, and I suppose, Rey or Finn is like the new hope. I think we really do know, but we'll go into that later.
And his first lines are, this will start to put things right, if I remember rightly.
Right.
Somewhat of that. Somewhat around those lines, yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought he got taken out pretty quick for how much they introduced the character before the film came out. They said, "Oh, this guy," and then all of a sudden, I thought to myself, "Well, that was quick." That was really quick, and there was no sort of. We didn't know his name. That's what got me as well, because he said it was an old friend. It'll always be a princess. Princess Leia will always be a princess to him, but we never really knew him or his character, or what reference his character is.
His character's name is Lor San Tekka, and he's, according to IMDb, he's gonna be in Episode 8. So either he's coming back as a Force ghost or flashbacks.
Yeah, because we know Han Solo is also coming back. That's what they said. So I guess
I said that too. So
I've got a theory about Han Solo, actually, which I was discussing with my friend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you know? Am I all right to tell you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Do you know how Han Solo says things like, "I always talk my way out of it. It's always, we've always managed to get out of it by me talking a way out of it." What if he was Force sensitive and he didn't know it? So every time he talks his way out of things, he was sort of using the Force to get himself out of some really tricky situations. So when he met Leia and they had the child, no wonder that child was really powerful, because not only was she the grandchild of Anakin, but because Han Solo was Force sensitive, it produced a really powerful Jedi. How's that?
Interesting.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. To be discussed at another date, I believe, but definitely some speculation. So, so I think it's cool that, I'm not taking it out on the prequels, because we're all a fan of the prequels, us three, but I think there is one criticism of the lack of real troopers, and as far as I know, the troopers, at least most of them in the prequels, were CG. And here we have real troopers being deployed, and I just think that's so cool, of like having like these ships coming down, and you just see these troopers. And we saw this in one of the trailers of all these troopers, of all the flashing and stuff, and I think they do zero in on Finn's trooper a few times. At least they focus in on it, and we kind of guess that's Finn. And just seeing them all come out, just you know, and we did see that little bit, and we weren't really sure in the trailer what that was, but now we do, and just to see all these like troopers, they're nice armor, but it's not as it's still more shiny than like say in the original movies, but it's still very cool, and I love the design of these troopers.
It took me some time to get used to it, but I agree. I think it does look fantastic in the films. You know, I think to myself, God, I wish I was thinner. I want one of those uniforms.
Yeah,
it does look cool.
And those flame troopers, very cool. The flame trooper we had seen before, and just all the different ranks and such. You know, I mean, I love. You know, I mean, of course, we know that and now we want to talk about BB-8, who really is the first character we saw running down, because he kind of saw all these like ships coming down, and he's just rolling around the ground. I don't have the $150 BB-8 thing, but it does look very tempting because it just looks so fun to use.
I do.
You do?
I've got it. Yeah, I got it. I got it for my birthday. It is so cool. It is really, really cool. But the sound, do you know BB-8's voice on the app? That is how he sounds from. Do you remember the first trailers that came out?
Yeah, he
sort of sounds different slightly in the film, because I think they've retweeted his voice for the film. But so he sounds kind of different. But saying that, I've not kicked him. Well, when did I boot him up last? I think it was a week ago, and. But he's so cool. My God, he's so cool. I just wish I had a bigger one. Really do want a bigger one.
And I think it's interesting that they say, you know, this is a practical effect. Now, I think when he's going, like, super fast, I think that's CG enhanced, because, you know, I think this thing can go, like slowly, but I don't think there's any capabilities, personally.
He's actually a puppet as well.
Oh, okay.
He was built as a puppet, and he has, if I remember rightly, he's got, I think on IMDb, he's actually got a guy down as BB-8's puppeteer, I think. Sure, I read it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, I know he's like a RC droid, I believe, with like a blur effect when he spins. Right. That's what I heard from probably like last year, if not 2 years ago, around the time the first trailer came out. That's something Mark Hamill said, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's great. Have you? I don't know if you've seen it, but do you know? Did you just happen to see the UK premiere when they had all the cast going up the red carpet? But they had BB-8, and then StarWars.com posted a video on YouTube of what was the red carpet like through the BB-8's eyes. So his head has actually got a video camera built into it, so the controller could actually see where it was going via, his point of view, which I thought was amazing, just absolutely amazing.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
So we do get our first introduction. I love the new shuttle. I think that is just so cool. It kind of has it's almost like the Tidarian combined with the TIE Fighter combined with just the way, because once it's landed, it kind of looks like the top of a TIE Fighter, like the wings almost. And I just think it's just incorporates so many different designs of various ships, and I just think it's so cool. And we see it, we see it being taken off and landing a few times during the movie, at least a couple times.
Have you it reminded me of a design I saw in a film called Sky Captain, World of Tomorrow.
Yep, I know what you mean. I think I know the ship you're talking about. I remember that movie. Another a movie that bombed, actually, but it was good.
I loved that film.
Yes.
I totally loved that film. I thought it was so good.
World of Tomorrow sounds very like I've heard of it. Oh, is this like the animated movie?
Yeah, well, it's like live action over, and then they put I forget what the technique is called, but it's live action, but they put animation over it to make it look like an animated movie. But
it's what's the guy's name? I know the director's called Kevin something, but what basically he did is he rented out a warehouse and green screen the whole of it, and he got all the leading actors to just walk and interact with green blocks, and then they CGI'd everything. Very much similar to what they're doing with the new Jungle Book film by Disney. That the only thing real is the little boy. Everything else is CGI'd, totally CGI'd.
Huh. Interesting.
It's very good technique, and it's just amazing what they can do nowadays. It's because it just gets better and better every year, really.
Right.
I can't find The World of Tomorrow. When did it come out?
Oh God,
was it early 2000s?
Yeah.
Oh, then I'm looking in the wrong area then, because I'm looking at one that came out this year.
It was like 2000, 2002, 2003.
I found
Jude
it.
Law.
I found it.
Yeah.
It's done by the guy who did. I think it's the guy who did the Total Recall, Star Trek, and Stargate movie.
Huh.
Or maybe he was in it.
Okay, 2004.
Okay.
Okay, it's Kerry
Conran.
Conran.
That's it, not Kevin. Kerry Conran. He actually did a mock-up for the John. I can't remember what his last name is now. The film about Mars. Disney made it, and it big time. And it flopped.
John
Carter.
John Carter. Yeah, he actually did.
No.
He did a massive 10-minute show reel for his version of it, and they didn't go ahead with it. They went somewhere else. So and then Disney made it themselves, and of course it was a big flop.
I actually really like John Carter.
Yeah, I did.
Same here.
Yeah, I think that's got legs. If they redid it again, I think it's got legs. I think there's some potential in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe in a couple decades.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see. So, moving on, we have Kylo Ren. We're introduced to Kylo Ren, and I really am curious what you guys thought. Oh, by the way, let's see. Oh, I just looked at the number. Let's see. Looks like The Force Awakens is at 1.511 billion. So
wow,
just in 3 weeks alone, I believe. So
that is a lot.
The power of Star Wars is uncanny.
The power of marketing, power of families and such.
If we were going all around Star Wars merchandising, I can say it would be way past 1 billion.
Funny enough, Luke, right? I've heard that Disney alone will make $5 billion, right, on marketing for this film. With all the merchandise, $5 billion just from that, just from the marketing.
Yep. Taste alone should bring in about $2 billion.
Who would have think when in this day and age we'd be talking billions?
Yeah, I mean just last year speaking of box office, I'll talk about this on Big Picture Radio, but 2015 is $11.1 billion total at the movies. I just think that's amazing. I mean, I assume it's just domestic, Well, no, it could be international. No, I don't know. Anyway, Hollywood
Mr.
movies.
Kylo Ren.
Yeah, so Kylo Ren, what do you think about this guy? I love the mask. I think that is just so cool.
So we're talking about Kylo Ren, right?
Kylo Ren, yeah.
No, Kylo Ren.
Kylo? I thought it was Kylo.
I mean, we all can have our judgments.
Okay.
Oh, right, yeah, I get you. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually a really big fan of Kylo Ren, though.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I enjoyed him.
So did I.
Yeah. I enjoyed just his presence as he walked down. I thought, wow, this is really good. He's got that. I don't know why it is, but how he was walking. Because I remember David Prowse, he was talking about when he did Darth Vader, he says it's the walk. You know what I mean? It's the walk. People recognise the walk that you do. And he did like a very good I'm a bad guy walk, I have to say.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, and seeing Poe firing a laser at him and him just stopping this beam, I just thought that was just. I mean, that's just. I can see that as something that almost like a fanboy would say. What if sitting around the lunch table, what if the Force could stop a laser beam? Because we've seen the Force use all sorts of stuff, whether it be, as far as a visual medium, I mean, it's not, you can't really see it in books, but comics, video games, all that kind of stuff, seeing all these different force powers, like Knights of the Republic, you can play all sorts of different force powers, but seeing this, blocking a laser beam, and him just like in the back of his mind holding on to that focus while he's doing all this other stuff, he's just crazy.
Because didn't he not use the Force as well as hold that blaster bolt? Because he used it. Didn't he use it on Poe? Because he didn't kill him, did he? Straight off. You would have thought he would have done, but I'm sure he used the Force on Poe as well as holding that blaster. Even he just walked when he started walking away. He was still holding it, and then he went, done, and it popped. Fantastic power. I really, you're right. It was purely fanboy for the fanboy fans, really.
Yeah, I can just see it.
I'm gonna bring this up now. It has something similar has been done with the Force in the comic books. Like on my wallpaper right now, it is Darth Vader and a whole bunch of stormtroopers like in this massive firefight, and he's holding out his hand, and a blaster shot is just deflecting right off his hand using the Force.
He did that in Empire.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So we've seen similar, but we've never seen it like hold a blaster shot in suspended motion, which I thought was really cool.
It was. It looked fantastic, and it gave JJ a reason to put a quick lens flare into it as well.
Wasn't one of the first things he said there was not going to be many lens flares in Star Wars?
Yeah, he put a couple in. I noticed them, a couple. Because I was not looking for them, but when they happened, you saw them. But they were not like Star Trek, where there were lens flares where there was no lights. You know what I mean? This one, it was like the back of the Falcon, the Starkiller base firing, and that laser bolt. They were the three that stuck out to me. And of course, when the fighters went past you as well in space, you often saw a little bit, not big, but nice little bitty one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. Moving on. So we do get Poe. We do get moved to daylight, and we get to I do want to talk a little bit about the humor in this. I can't understand you with the apparatus, and it's just I think the humor is great really throughout this film. We'll kind of talk a little bit about it, but whether between Kylo, just like comfortable.
Yeah, the way Poe was going, do I talk first or you talk first?
I don't,
how do we do this?
Before we move on from Kylo Ren, I got a couple things to say, unless we're going by act by act, or are we just talking about Kylo Ren in his entirety?
Well, we're kind of doing act by act, but then we're kind of doing both. We're kind of just, you can talk about Kylo Ren. Just don't. We're not going to do the ending too much, but just go ahead, go for it.
Okay, so this is not really I want to talk about his almost immatureness that he has. And as you were talking about his Force use before, you could definitely see where his Force use is way stronger than his lightsaber use, but getting to that, we should probably get into that later.
Yes.
But when he finds out that the droids got away with Finn and Rey, or the BB-8 got away, he started cutting up his chamber, and then Force choked that Imperial guy. That's at that point when my friend sitting next to me when we were watching the movie, he just leaned over and said, "Well, it's time for Darth Tantrum to come out."
Yeah. Funny enough, I always thought those bits were played for laughs because when he went off like that, everybody in the cinema were laughing, and then the second time he did it, everyone just laughed. And I think how things happen on the internet. Somebody's already done a little cartoon of him going shopping and. Oh, we haven't got that item that you want, Mr. Callow.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's so funny. Oh, but yeah, you're right. It's just like, what? What are you doing, man? Just calm down. And I was thinking, is he not just going to blow up that control room by doing that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like he did it twice. He did it in the control room and in the interrogation room.
Yeah.
Right. And I do want to talk about, before we move on to Rey, I do want to talk briefly about Finn, or, FN2187, who, it is interesting that we get introduced to this guy who, I believe this is his first mission. Isn't this his first mission?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he's, sanitation, isn't it? Sanitation.
Yeah, he's sanitation.
Yeah. Bog cleaner.
So he decides to make a choice to not fire, not to kill these villagers, and you can really just see that. You can really understand him just from that blood from his comrades just going over his headplate, his headpiece, and just seeing him decide not to fire is just, I thought it was pretty powerful.
Do you get that he got shell shocked with that bit? That was just, they were obviously told him this wasn't going to go down this way, or did he know it was going to go down this way? Being a stormtrooper, oh yeah, we'll go down, interrogate, we kill.
I mean, I think so. Just from the atmosphere, I'm guessing he guessed that he would just be killing them all. Executing them all.
Are we allowed to nitpick as we go along as well?
Oh, sure, nitpick away.
Yeah, because I do love the film, but do you know that? The bit where his comrade falls down, he gets blasted by Poe. Poe shoots him dead. And he goes down and he gets the blood covered over his hand, And that bit, I thought to myself, wow, that's kind of powerful, because now it gives me as a viewer that a real face to the stormtroopers, not just guys in armor running around being shot, right? But on the very beginning of the film, where they're in the transporter, after seeing that bit, I thought there should be a bit where Finn would have said to the guy, I'm really nervous, and this guy turned around and goes, well, stick with me and you'll be all right. And then, of course, the guy gets killed, and it's like, oh, my God, you know what I mean? This guy was going to look out for me, and he's just been killed. What's going to happen to me? I'd like to have seen something like that. I don't know if it's in the book or anything like that, if anything gets said prior to them landing, but it just seemed a bit, why pick that stormtrooper? You know what I mean? But because bearing in mind... 5 minutes later, when he breaks, spoilers again, when he breaks Poe out, he kills no end of stormtroopers himself,
right?
Doesn't he? He just blasts them all over the place.
Yeah.
I have a theory about the stormtrooper who got killed with Poe. That guy might have also been from sanitation.
Yeah, could have been. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Seems strange though if you've been in sanitation, then all of a sudden you're on the war front.
Yeah, that is a bit weird.
Yeah. All right, so I want to get a bit into Daylight Jakku, because this is the first time we see Rey. It's a new character, new day, introducing to this girl who is just a scavenger, and we just get introduced to her. Just, we saw in the trailer of this person with just these goggles and just her like turning her head, and she just like grabs this thing, and I think it's so cool. I mean, her little sled she has just to go down the sand dune. I
loved that section. I absolutely, just the look of it and how big. You suddenly realise how big that Star Destroyer is, just laying there in the sand. I just loved it. Loved all that bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something really quick about that whole thing. They have a free expansion for Battlefront where you're able to actually play that battle, but it gave you no context to the movie, which made me really sad, which is the whole reason I downloaded it.
Yeah, me too, actually. I did, because I thought, oh my God, is this going to... Because they say, don't they, it's connected. It's like a prequel to that scene. But, no, it weren't.
No, it wasn't. You're just fighting. And then sometimes the Empire wins, sometimes the Republic wins. It's like, this had no significance, really.
Well, you're just running and dying on that game.
Yeah.
That's how I play it. But, yeah, you're right. But what was cool about the game, that scene, is that you saw that same Star Destroyer, but with the engines still going on it. Do you know what I mean? It was still... And then to see it 30 years later, where it's just a wreck. I just loved it. Just loved it.
And you also get to see it crash on Jakku, which was also pretty cool.
That was pretty good. But actually, it's not. That particular Star Destroyer is already on the ground. It's already crashed.
Oh, okay.
But what you see crash in the background is a Super Star Destroyer.
Oh,
that's what you got to look at. And what's really good, what they've done with the game is fantastic to look at. Yeah, not to play, but to look at. And the sound of it hitting the ground is like, you actually hear it like a proper real something hitting the ground really hard. But it is a Super Star Destroyer, not just a normal Star Destroyer, Super Star Destroyer.
Yeah, wow.
Look out for that. Look out for that. It's really cool.
So we get Rey's theme, and I think this is our first obvious new musical cue. I mean, I think there is a newer one at the beginning, but this one is like the first. We get our, the idea that this is like the hero's journey, perhaps, and this is like her theme. And,
well, we get our Kylo Ren theme when the ship's landing, but that's about it.
Yeah, but I really like this theme.
I've got a bit of because I've got the soundtrack.
Same here.
And I've listened to the soundtrack. And Kylo Ren has got his theme is similar to a theme that's in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
I'm dead sure of it. There's his theme is similar to one of the tracks. I've got to go back and listen to it. I'm dead sure.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the track name, but I know what you're talking about.
So we do get her on the what's this speeder called? Do we have a name for it?
We call it the pudding pop.
Right.
Oh, yeah, we actually called it here. Somebody actually did a picture on Facebook, and it's a Magnum ice cream. It's proper, if you look at it, it's a Magnum ice cream in the UK, and it looked just like it. In fact, I went off and bought one and got a knife and started carving into it just to see if it really did look like it. I loved that speeder. I must admit, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Loved the design of it and everything.
So we get introduced to this. I believe it's Simon Pegg's character.
1/2 portion.
One.
Yeah, he's called Unka Plut. Yeah. Now, I did not know what his name was, but I was playing Disney Infinity with the Rey and the Flynn story. And she actually turns around and calls him, and she called him Unka, but at the time I didn't know his name, and I thought, did she just call him Uncle? I was convinced she said Uncle, and I kept going through, and she said, that is Uncle. But then when I looked up on IMDb, and it's not Uncle, it's Uncle. Yeah, well, similar, innit?
Yeah.
Right, and at one point I could have sworn I heard something similar to like what Simon Pegg would say, just like a similar tone of voice, but for the most part it was just a completely different voice. But
can I say something about Unkar Plutt's character?
Sure.
Spoiler alert for the novelization. Like, this is a small tidbit, but
yeah, you can say spoiler alert for the novelization, but you don't need to say spoiler alert.
I think I know where you're going to go on, and Luke. Go on.
Okay, he follows them to the planet with Maz's castle, and he tries to steal back the Millennium Falcon, and Chewbacca rips off either one or both of his arms.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. Rips them both off, whoosh, straight off.
Wow.
Yeah, I hope that's going to be in the 30 minutes of cut footage.
Yeah, I do as well. Oh, wouldn't it be so cool to see an actual Wookiee rip the arm sockets? The arms out of their sockets. So cool.
So, and we see, maybe Luke's helmet that Rey's wearing, but I don't know. Am I wrong?
It looked like the Red Leader or the Red 5 helmet.
It's, I've been, funny, I did have a look on the net for this, and Luke's helmet has got one V on it, one V, where that one had 5. So a lot of people, I suppose, with a V, and there was 5 of them, thought, red, is it Red 5? It's Red 5, isn't it?
Yeah, Red 5.
Yeah. But the first thing I said was like, it's Luke's. It's got to be Luke's.
But alas, it's not. They didn't want to be that obvious.
Yeah, but did you see the doll?
What were we going to say, Luke?
It still could have been. I mean, he was Red 5.
Yeah.
In New Hope, he was Red 5, so he might have been able to keep his helmet or something like upon those lines.
But did you see the doll that she had as well on the shelf?
Yeah, the X-Wing fighter.
The X-Wing pilot, yeah.
Very cool. She of course lives inside an AT-AT or AT-AT, which is cool. Yeah,
that is cool. And it was not the base of operations for Radio Free Endor. I have to say that.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to talk briefly about Captain Phasma. I think this is, of course, played by Gwendolyn Christie, Game of Thrones. Really great character. And it's just this, I mean, she's like 6'3", She is really tall. I've seen her at a convention.
Damn, she's taller than me.
She's like, what? I mean, she is so tall. It's unbelievable. She's
very brooding. I mean, she's just like who told you to remove that helmet?
Yeah.
You know, who told you to remove
She
that
sneaked on in that armor. She sneaked on. Did you? She must have some Nike chrome Nike shoes or something, because you didn't hear her come up that ramp like you heard Finn.
Right. Yeah, she's very stealthy, it seems.
Yeah.
And just we'll get into a little bit later if we have time.
Yeah, she is I love that character because I've been out and I've bought a couple of figures of her character because I just love the look of it. But that's the character that I can nitpick the most because I was a bit disappointed, to be truthful, with her character, not her, but her character.
You wanted more?
Well, they made out that she was the new Boba Fett of this film, of this franchise. And when you look back on it, yeah, she was. She did nothing, just like Boba Fett did in Empire Strikes Back. Did nothing, really. You know what I mean? She did nothing. And I just thought, why have you publicised her? And she's on all this marketing as, you know, on the front of it, that she is like, you know, a complete badass. Yet she did nothing. She just stood there, then over there, and then she took the shields off. She did nothing. One of the other things is you had a scene with this stormtrooper that had like a force, a shock baton that could.
Oh yes,
yeah,
I love that guy.
I think. There you go.
Oh, the internet deemed him the name of TR-8R after his one line of dialogue.
Traitor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now, why couldn't they have stuck Phasma there? Why couldn't that? Because she could have beat him down, and then later on, when Finn went to the base, then he said, "Who's in charge now? I've got you now," and that would have worked. That would have worked. But instead of sticking Phasma in there, they just stuck a normal stormtrooper there. So
I mean, it would have been cool to see Phasma pull out some kind of blade of some kind.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was expecting.
Maybe, I mean, this sounds stupid, but maybe they could do a George Lucas style thing and do like a special edition cut where they make it Phasma in that fight.
Yeah, well,
I don't know about that.
they made it.
Maybe.
They made that stormtrooper look like a sweet, a candy bar or something for Christmas. Did you notice it?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that, like, he was wielding a candy cane.
A candy cane, yeah. Yeah.
So was Finn.
Yeah, I think I reposted that. I thought it was so funny.
I did too.
And then what else did they do to Phasma? They just stuck her in a trash compartment, you know, in the compactor. Now, who would have got her out? Who got her out for the next couple of films?
But she's going to be in Episode 8. I mean, again, this is some unanswered questions that this wasn't even answered in the book, I heard.
Oh, man.
How far are you into the book?
I haven't read the book. I'm just going off of what I heard.
Oh, just from what you've heard. Oh, okay.
Which I've heard a goodly deal, because I have a friend who's been reading it and keeping me very well informed.
Yeah, I have the ebook, and it's because obviously they want to keep spoilers away. So I think the novelization, like the actual hardcover, is being released pretty soon, right?
January 8th. That's what I'm waiting for.
It's actually out now in Britain.
Oh, you lucky.
I've not picked it up myself because I've got the audio book of it. But some of my friends have posted that they've been down to the shop and they've actually got it. So it must be out.
My goal is that when it comes out, to pick up the Barnes & Noble edition. I'm not sure if that is in the UK, but in America, it's a chain of bookstores, and they have this exclusive. Like in the novelization, they're gonna have 8 pages of pictures from the film, and Barnes & Noble's gonna have an exclusive extra 8 pages.
Oh wow!
So I'm waiting for that.
I might check that out.
My original Star Wars novel had, in the middle of it, had colour photos. It was so cool. And I think that's how the books of films used to be in the 70s and early 80s. They used to have the book, you know, and then they'll have, in the middle, they'll have 8 or 9 pages of colour photos. Because I remember I've got Alien. Alien had the same sort of thing. You know,
that's cool.
Yeah.
But there's an Alien book?
The novel of Alien.
Oh, I need to get that.
Yeah, it had colour photos in it. I'm sure I've got it somewhere. I'll have to have a look in the box. I've got so much in boxes, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. So we do get a little drop line. Maybe they should consider using a clone army. I thought that was kind of alluding to the prequels. How did you guys take that? I just thought it was just like, because as we know, Finn said that he's been raised from birth, and the fact that he was stolen from his home and that his number is the only name he has.
I thought that was a really good sort of like a mirroring of what the Jedi used to do, because the Jedi used to not steal them, but they used to recognize Force-sensitive babies and take them from their families at an early age, so they sort of don't remember their families, if I remember rightly. So for the Empire, well, for the First Order to start doing that, I thought it was kind of similar to the old practice. And well, I'm sorry, lost my train of thought on that one.
Well, as far as the clone army thing, that was the kind of the second part of the question.
That was it. Yes, the clones. Yes, I did like, because whatever people say about the prequels, they are canon. They happened. They are canon. So it was great to see them say, well, clones, we can use clones, sort of thing. And so I like that. I did like that. I like that nod.
And also, they say in Attack of the Clones, they are completely obedient and such. So maybe a clone army would be a little more obedient, and it wouldn't be. I mean, obviously the clones, there is some diversity in there, as we saw from the Clone Wars show, but not as much diversity, especially in the lower ranks, versus like stormtroopers, which seem to be individual more. So.
Yeah, also had another girl. You had another stormtrooper that was a girl, a woman as well, didn't you? That come up. There was one that came up to, I think it was General Hux, and spoke to him.
Luke.
Maybe.
Okay.
I vaguely remember something of that, but I'm not sure if it was Phasma or if it was a female trooper.
Yeah. I just think it's they're sure good at doing high treason.
Yeah. How come everyone knew the name? When they were doing searches for the troopers, and Kylo Ren said, "Oh yeah, it's FN," and then his number. You know what I mean? I thought, wow, does he know the numbers of every single trooper? That's got to be amazing. Yeah. Amazing memory.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting about that.
You do know what Finn's number meant, yeah? Do you know what callback it was to?
Oh, I heard this once, but I forget.
It's the cell door number to Princess Leia in the original Death Star.
Oh, yeah. That makes a lot. I remember that.
What is that number? I did have it. It's on my notes somewhere.
FN 2187.
That's it. 2187.
Only way I can remember was actually by putting FN in front of it.
Yeah, that's her cell number.
Yep, FN 2187. Yep. Okay, so also Luke Skywalker is a myth. That's kind of another issue that I put in my notes. Finn telling, I think, is that when? Hold on a sec. Is that when Rey? Let's see. So Finn runs into Rey and such, and Finn is talking about the fact that it's a map that leads to Luke Skywalker, and Rey is just like so excited. The fact that I thought Luke Skywalker was a myth. I'm really curious what you guys think about that. I just think it's so interesting that this guy, this guy who is a famous Jedi or such, has gone into a myth after. We're not quite sure when he disappeared. We can imagine he's probably been gone for at least 10 or 15 years or so.
Yeah.
Now, if I can remember rightly, the time in between the prequels to A New Hope and from Jedi to The Force Awakens. Now, the time gap in between the prequels to A New Hope, in that time, most people sort of forgot about the Clone Wars,
right?
Of what had happened, of all the battles, have sort of forgot it, and that's gone into legend. And that was only 20 years.
Yeah.
So now you're talking 30 plus years So you can imagine that kind of thing has gone into myth, legend, stories to be told. I like that. I did like that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. So, Luke, what do you think about Rey as this like strong female character? You too, Jamie. I'm just kind of wondering what you think about Rey and the fact that she seems like a very strong character, and the fact that she's stop taking my hand.
Yeah.
I think it's.
Oh, I think she's a very cool and very strong character. Like, I like everything that she's done. I think she's close to being a near perfect main character for any movie ever.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I liked her because this is her first film, if I remember rightly, isn't it? It's her first film that she's been in.
First, not an animated film.
Well, so she's voicing a character in Only Yesterday, right?
Yeah, but not just that. She was in this. Here, let me go to her IMDb really quick.
Well, she's mainly done TV.
Yeah, she's mainly done TV. She's done like a lot of one and done like guest appearances on TV.
She also did a little short film, which she does a great performance in.
Okay, it was Scrawl. That was the name of it. That was the movie. That was the animated movie she was in.
Right, I've not heard of that.
It's an hour and 22 minutes. It's like a fantasy horror movie about a boy who writes a comic book with his best friend, and the comic book comes to life, and stuff happens.
Sounds cool. I'll probably have to. Is that this year?
Yeah, it came out this year.
Cool.
Oh, right. Well, what I liked about that, about Daisy Ridley, is it's very similar to Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill had done TV. So the feature films was literally the first time he was actually introduced as a star sort of thing. So it's great that this Daisy Ridley is being introduced as a star, and she's not been in anything, so you can't really judge her from anything you've seen before.
Yeah, and she wasn't even the main character in Skrull. She was like a supporting character.
Yeah.
So she really is like she's pretty much an unknown.
Yeah. And throughout this movie, I think she's the hero's journey, right? She's the hero of the hero's journey. I think that's really cool. The whole thing about.
And did you notice, right, being English, that she kept her English accent? Usually, most in the Star Wars films, the English people are the bad guys.
Right.
Well, what about Obi-Wan?
Yeah, fair point. I'll take that one back.
Though he's Scottish.
Not originally.
Really?
Oh.
I mean, I thought I could have sworn he was like there's a featurette a while back for episode 3 when like at 3 a.m. he was recorded doing the British national anthem.
Well, I think it's not always the English, but a lot of times it is. You see, especially in the original Star Wars with all the Imperial officers, they're British.
I mean, I know a lot of Imperial officers were, but Vader or Palpatine, they were never British. Well, Palpatine.
Yeah. Vader wasn't, was he?
Vader wasn't for sure. Palpatine's a bit of a maybe. I don't exactly know what accent he is. He's just very decrepit.
Napoleon. Napoleon in the east part of London. That's where it is.
So I do want to get on to the Millennium Falcon. What about that ship?
God.
Don't take it's garbage.
It made the Kessel Run 14 parsecs.
And just kind of see right when we saw the Millennium Falcon, boom, music kicks in. I just thought that was so cool. And it just kind of felt like. It kind of felt almost like I was there playing in the same sandbox as they were.
Oh, yeah.
It was, that shot. Because when I watched it again, you do actually see it as the camera pans from left to right. Sorry, right to left. You do actually see it, but it's so fast, you just don't see it, if you know what I mean. But, when he actually points and then they goes, yeah, we'll take this one, and the camera just looks at it. Oh, my heart went, oh my God. Oh. What are they doing with her? Oh, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. Just love the Falcon. I bought so many models of the Falcon. She is my baby.
Falcon's just a cool ship.
Yeah, I've got a bumper sticker on my car saying my other car is the Millennium Falcon. So I just guess.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Something else. So the next thing that kind of happens is when we finally meet Harrison Ford. So the ship, and so I guess we sort of come to understand. It's a little fuzzy on the details. I think after my third view, and I think I finally, or at least after my second. So apparently Han Solo, they said it's the First Order. So apparently Han Solo and some other guys stole a First Order ship, and now they've made it theirs or something. I'm really not quite sure.
I think it was stolen 3 times, wasn't it, Luke? Was it
stolen?
stolen?
No.
3
I was
times?
talking about. Well, actually, I was talking about the ship they get tractor beamed into.
Oh yeah, the scavenger ship. The yeah,
because Finn's like it's the First Order. So I was a little confused by that.
I think they believe it to be the First Order, but it's just a freighter. It's a really big smuggling freighter.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So
you don't actually get to see much of it, what it looks like in the film, but in the video game, the Disney Infinity, you see a really good, look of it, and it's very big, bulky carrier. You know what I mean? Really, just a lot of squares. It's all squares on it. But it's very cool. The bay that the Falcon goes into is very much like the bay on the old version of the Battlestar Galactica. It's very much like that. It's really cool.
Also, that Duquesne character who originally stole the Millennium Falcon from Han and Chewie, he's apparently mentioned in the Smuggler's Run young adult novel.
Oh, really?
Cool.
Yeah, I haven't read any of them because they felt a bit too childish to read, but I'm feeling like I might want to go back and read them because there's a lot of characters, like Sarko Plank. He is actually a pretty key character I heard in the Luke Skywalker young adult novel.
I'm trying to think, because I've read a couple of them. Were they, but the names, you just, because it's a book, the names just go straight out of your head.
I looked up the Duquesne because the Han Solo ship was stolen by Duquesne, which was stolen by, I think that was like the Ular boys, which was stolen by Unkar Plank. Yeah, Unkar Plaque or something like that.
Cool. Yeah. So I want to talk about Han Solo. So he finally comes in, and we do see that scene of Chewie, we're home. From the trailer, of course. And I just think that was just so cool.
So iconic. It was like the scene, wasn't it? It was like, when he come running on, you're just waiting for that door to open for him to run in.
If I may say, that scene really reminded me of the scene in Crystal Skull when Indiana Jones put his fedora on.
Yeah, very similar.
Another thing, so we do get, because we knew from the original trilogy, Han is like, I've been through the galaxy, this and this, I've seen a lot of crazy stuff, but no all-powerful, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's kind of cool that he's kind of come around to the Force.
That scene is really good. For the simple fact is he says that in the same place he said in A New Hope, you fly around and you see a lot of kooky stuff, you know what I mean? It's all nonsense, really, didn't he? He said it was all just nonsense, and you need a good blaster by your side, So he, in the same position, all of a sudden he's going, it's all real, everything, it's all real. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's see, and then also, so we do learn a little bit of the backstory. I mean, a little bit of what happened between the two trilogies. I mean, an upcoming trilogy, of course. The start of this trilogy. He said he was training a new group of Jedi, but they all turned against him. So I definitely look forward to learning a little more about this.
Did he really say they all turned against him?
Well, I'm not sure about that. I don't think they all turned against him. I think one turned against him, and then a bunch of other guys joined up with him.
I thought it was just Kylo who turned against, and then
Kylo killed all the Jedi.
Yeah,
all the new Jedi.
I would just have to say that Constable Zuvio guy, I think he got killed by Ren in the flashback, but that was just me because I never saw him anywhere else.
No, that character was not in the film at all.
I mean, there was a character who looked very reminiscent of Constable Zuvio getting killed in the flashback.
Really?
Yeah, he was wearing like the big bull hat, kind of like Embo's hat.
I'll have to have a look again.
Yeah,
because I just did not see it. Because when they brought the action figure out, I was like, where were he? Who is he? What? Didn't see him.
Because he was speculated to be Simon Pegg's character.
Was he?
Yeah.
Wasn't he like an enforcer on Jakku?
He was supposed to be a constable on it, but no idea.
Yeah. Can I just go back a bit to when do you know when they're when Finn and Rey are on the Falcon, and just before they get boarded, you know that interaction between Finn and BB-8? That was just fantastic. You know how he did the thumbs up.
Oh yeah.
I was like, that was just brilliant.
With the lighter
Absolutely
and
brilliant.
stuff. That was amazing.
Yeah. And the other thing is that did you notice how Rey just seemed to know everything? She just knew everything. You know, everything. This was she could do, not figuring it out. She could just do it. I think somebody. I think I read somewhere that somebody. I never heard the term before, but do you know what Mary Sue? It's like
yes, I've heard of it.
It's an American term, isn't it? A Mary Sue. I thought, well, yeah, it's only when I read up on it, I thought, well, yeah, she seems to be, you know, everything is, you know, there's no figuring out. She doesn't go, I can't do that. But she just did it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah, I can do this. I can do that. I thought it was just a bit strange. Nitpicking again.
Yeah, I know. That's all right. So what do you guys think of Maz or Maz, played by Lupita Nyong'o, who won an Oscar for 12 Years a Slave? Great performance there. But they go to Maz because Han doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to visit Leia, and he eventually will have to. But what did you think about Maz's castle? I thought it was really cool. We got some little Mandalorian symbol. So and she's like 1,000 years old. So I thought that was very cool.
I have to say, it's close. It's closest to the cantina, but it is no hive of scum and villainy.
Right.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with that. It was a bit quick how the camera just scrolled around, because as soon as the camera got to Maz, it stopped from looking around in it, and it just tracked her back to the table. So you didn't really get a good look of what other species were there, because I was expecting some familiar ones from the canteen, but didn't see any. They're all just new. I know it's good to see new aliens and stuff like that, but it could have stuck one in that was familiar to us.
Yeah,
so
like, like a Rodian or something. Or
Well, we did get a Trandoshan. We did get the Max Rebo species.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
the Trandoshan was the big guy with the woman.
Where I didn't see that. Where's that one from?
He was the woman went and alerted the First Order.
Yeah, I mean, was that sort of character in A New Hope or?
Bosk.
Of course.
Oh.
And then Max Rebo is the blue guy who plays the piano. There's two of them.
Yeah.
Sitting down.
I would never have put that guy as a Bosk character. Never.
I don't know, but I heard something about it, and after I heard it, I'm like, oh, that's the closest I've seen, and it reminded me of a Bosk.
Yeah, a fat one.
So a fat Trandoshan. Interesting.
Yeah, and then the Max Rebo species, they were there, and then we also got the Wolfman from the cantina. He was walking in.
Oh, right. Now I have to say, that wolf that walked in, that was a creature from a Ralph McQuarrie picture.
Yeah.
Right, exactly how it is on a Ralph picture that I've seen from A New Hope.
Cool.
Sure it is.
So I do want to get a bit into this almost scene that seemed like a cave, like the cave scene of Luke. It almost has the same kind of spookiness of it, of Rey going down to just venturing down this cave. The
calling.
Yeah, and just opening this chest, seeing this lightsaber. I mean, it's, we don't know where this lightsaber coming from. Maz,
now, I know exactly right. There's something about that scene that it had me with goosebumps. I was thinking, oh my god! Do you know how you could hear the child crying? My mind automatically thought that she can hear the lives that saber took, as in when nobody killed the kids.
Yeah,
I thought it was that. So as she was going down, she could sort of hear like an audible history of the calling of what's happened to that saber till she touched it, and then she got a direct contact with it, and then brought on the vision, the Force vision. I don't know if you guys thought it was different, as in it could have been when she was being left. I sort of went into that, didn't it, when she was being crying when she was left as a small child.
Yeah,
What do you guys think?
That's where I would go with it, but it felt like the children that Anakin slaughtered with the saber, and same friend who was watching the movie with me, this is like our second time watching it, he leaned over to me and he says, this is the lightsaber that's destined for you is the lightsaber that slaughtered like 14 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a lot that you really have to take into consideration.
Yeah, I mean, I just think
also, do you know the flashback scenes?
Yes.
Did you notice all there were, all the scenes that it started playing out? Did you hear all the different sound effects and the voices?
I heard the Alec Guinness. I heard the Ewan McGregor. I heard the Yoda.
I had to, on my second time, I listened really well to that. And what you see, first of all, is the corridor from Empire Strikes Back. Yeah? When Luke is fighting Vader. Mm-hmm. It's that corridor. And I think you can actually hear Vader say something to Luke and he goes, no. Yeah, I'm sure you can hear that bit of dialogue. And then it shifts, doesn't it? It shifts then to was it to Luke? Was it to Luke?
Oh.
He actually
it was to Luke.
Was it to Luke and he put his hand on R2 and then it went to the raining scene
with the
where you saw
character.
Well, if that's the case, that was I thought that was Kylo Ren killing the Jedi. It was so fast because it is really fast. It must be less than a second each scene. That's what I thought it was. You saw Kylo Ren, kill a Jedi, and then the camera sort of panned away, and you saw all the bodies as you've seen them in the trailer all around. Yeah. And I thought, well, that's all the Jedi that Luke had trained. Then it went. Did it go onto the snow planet or did it go onto the forest? So the snow planet.
I think into
Starkiller Base.
The snow planet.
Mm. But it's in them scenes you heard Yoda talking. Then you heard Alec Guinness.
Ray.
Ray.
She said Ray. And I think they got that from. Apparently they got that from some other word. I can't remember the word, but
betrayed.
Right.
Betrayed. Synthesized, betrayed into Ray.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
And then they got and then they got Ewan McGregor in, didn't they? To then say some more lines like "Your path begins" or something, "The journey begins" or something.
Ewan McGregor. And the funny thing is, they didn't have to use Ewan McGregor, but I like that they did, because they had on the AR team, they had James Arnold Taylor, who was the voice of the Clone Wars Obi-Wan.
He tweeted it, didn't he? He said he's been replaced, but in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, I find that to be like just really cool. Like all those tidbits, like they had almost the whole entire cast, like the male cast of the Clone Wars, working on the AR team. Yeah, and some of them were stormtroopers. Like Matt Lantern, the voice of Anakin, was a stormtrooper. D. Bradley Baker was a lot of the animals.
Yeah, David Collins, he did a voice as well, doesn't he?
Right. Yeah, David Collins did something.
He actually got his line. Actually, he said it to. I'm sure he said a line to Phasma.
I think he's one of the troopers.
Now I know Frank Oz came in and did the when you heard Yoda, that was fresh dialogue from Frank Oz as well.
Yeah. The first time I watched it, I thought I heard Yoda laughing, but I did not. The second time I heard the dialogue, I was like, yeah.
Let's see.
It was so cool though. It was just really good.
This vision. I mean, I just need to see this movie again, just to see this vision, because I think I missed some stuff, especially that third viewing where I was like off in La La Land. I didn't get any of that. So
I think when it comes out on pay-per-view or on Blu-ray, that scene will be the most watched scene and written about.
Yeah, people will rewind it, rewind.
And it comes out in April of this year, so we don't have to wait too long.
We're actually already getting. You've heard of Sky TV, yeah?
Yeah.
We're getting commercials for Sky Movies to pre-order The Force Awakens for $13.99. And what basically, when you pre-order it, you get it on your tablet, your PC, your TV, and they also send you the DVD through the post.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
They send you a DVD or a Blu-ray?
DVD, because I said, well, I want the Blu-ray. I want the 3D Blu-ray. Why can't they send that? But it's just amazing how quick they're advertising to buy it. You know what I mean? I would have thought it'd still be in the cinemas by April, to tell the truth.
Yeah.
I would think so too, but apparently that's not the case, which makes me kind of sad almost.
Yeah. Well, I can buy it already?
Well, that's the way, amazing. I think, if you were to notice with Paul Blart Mall Cop, which it wasn't that great, that last year one.
Yeah.
Cha-ching.
That came out on DVD a week after it left theaters.
A week? Oh, my
really?
God.
Yeah.
Well, that's a film that should never been made. There's plenty of films that I look at and think, well, why can't that have a sequel?
Like, we're not getting Incredibles 2 till, 2018 or something?
Yeah.
2018 or 2020. It's one of the two.
The amount of times I've watched The Rocketeer and gone, why didn't they make a sequel to that?
Also, The Rocketeer. Did you guys see Tomorrowland?
Yes.
I did not.
I did not really care for that movie.
I didn't. It was such a big letdown for that. Such a big letdown.
I thought I saw The Rocketeer in a trailer.
It's directed by the same guy.
I swear I saw The Rocketeer. That was George Clooney as a kid with the
he's got a rocket pack. His character makes the rocket pack, and then they sort of take the idea and because he stays there, if I remember rightly, he stays there and he develops
a number of years.
And they develop the rocket pack into this amazing kit. But what he's got originally is just like your basic Rocketeer pack. Yeah. That bit's really cool, I must admit, because I'm a big fan of the Rocketeer, and God, it's a Disney film and that should have made money. Why can't it? Because I'm a big fan following of that, but no, you get your really awful films that get made, and they just keep panning them out.
But I guess what was worth it to me when seeing that is I got to see the Star Wars second trailer. I got to see the Star Wars second trailer in theaters because of that movie, and I got to see it for free, so I wasn't complaining really.
Yeah. I know a lot of people used to, a couple of films, they used to go in, just to see that one trailer, and then they used to just walk straight back out. Just pay to go and see the trailer.
I wouldn't really do that, especially nowadays.
Not now, it's so expensive.
We are getting a little bit off track here.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah.
A little bit off track. So, of course, we learned that something else... They finally visit Leia, and the Resistance and such.
Jonathan, can I just rewind a bit more?
Sure.
From that. Do you know when she drops the saber and she walks back out and Maz is there? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And she has this speech with her. That was the one time that I totally connected with that character. And, what's the actress called? Sorry.
Lupita?
Yeah. Her voice all of a sudden suited that character for the way she said, close your eyes and feel the Force, I just, that one scene, I thought, yeah, that works for me.
Right.
But what I didn't like, when Han and Chewie come down and then Han goes, where'd you get that from? She goes, oh, that's a tale for another time. Yeah? And well, I'm sorry. No, it is not. I want to know right now how you got that. Do I have to go off and buy 8 comic books to find out? Do I have to buy a book that's not out yet to find out? I like tell me now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that maybe it would be such a long story, that it would just be they did do a little, there is later in the movie where it's our son was, it was Snoke that turned him to the dark side. That was a little... show, little tell, don't show, because in a movie you're supposed to show, don't tell. Well, that would be probably an example of telling instead of showing, and I think that it would just be a lot more. I also wanted to know, but I think it would just be something that I suppose it would take a lot more explanation. Now, she could have just done the same thing. She could have done the same thing as Leia did in giving the spill about Kylo Ren. It was Snoke. She could have done this. There's a lot of movies that they do that you're supposed to do show, don't tell, and that's kind of a problem with some movies.
But they did it literally 10 minutes later
Yeah, I
with
know.
C-3PO, didn't they? Oh, you probably don't recommend it because I've got a red arm, but, that's another tale I've got to tell. I was like, no, stop doing this.
I know.
Can I intervene 2 things really quick?
Sure.
Okay, so this Tale for Another Time with C-3PO's arm, that's going to be a one-shot comic book. And in one of the trailers, it was either the first one or the second one, you see Luke Skywalker's lightsaber being handed to Maz Kanata from Princess Leia or someone of that type.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's Maz handing it to Leia.
I thought it was Leia handing it to Maz.
There is scenes in the trailers that are not in the film.
Yeah, because it's like my sister has it. I
was so confused. They cut, but again, they did cut 30 minutes of footage from the final cut.
Do you think we'll get a director's cut of this film?
Here's what I've been thinking. I've been contemplating either deleted scenes or an extended cut, kind of like Lord of the Rings. Which I think a Lord of the Rings extended cut style for Star Wars would be super cool.
It would, wouldn't it? Here's my cash.
Yeah.
Take my money, as Rob would say.
30 minutes of footage cut, that's a lot of missed stuff.
And the question was it just cut for time, or was it just cut for the fact that
it was cut for time?
Yeah, and not necessarily a story reason. Because sometimes when they cut stuff, it's because the story slows down and it doesn't progress the plot.
But this was the opposite. The story felt a bit rushed at times, and that almost made me mad.
Well, I had read somewhere that there was a lot more story with Maz. Her character came out of a lot more, but JJ did not like how is it Lupita?
Yeah, Lupita.
Yeah, Lupita was doing it. He did not like
yes, I remember that.
Yeah, so he cut most of her scenes down so it flowed better. That's what I've heard. So I take it that there is a good 10 minutes maybe of actually more, because if you noticed as well, she just literally disappeared. She didn't get on board any ships or anything like that. She just went, oh, quick over there, bye. Oh,
yeah, the castle explodes.
Yeah,
gone.
And it was like that whole castle gone, and she just disappeared.
That's what got me, really.
Yeah, no, I think another thing is, backtracking a little bit, is that if you hadn't seen the original trilogy, it's not that big of a deal because Maz Kanata will give you the spill of what the Force is. So I thought that was kind of cool for those viewers that unfortunately haven't seen the original Star Wars, because that original Star Wars. I mean, they don't even do it in the prequels, give you the spill of the Force. In that original Star Wars, they give you the spill. That's like the first impression of what the Force is, and they do it the same in this new movie, so I thought that was pretty cool.
It was. I did enjoy her speech that she gave out, because there was no midichlorians. We don't need to go that way. We just know that it flows through everything, and I like that.
Also, I would just like to say one thing that Maz's character cut from turned into Legends. Since Maz is 1,000 years old, they cut the Old Republic into Legends.
Yeah.
Because her birth interferes with all of that.
Huh.
Yeah, you're right.
By 100 years. Man, that made me mad. But now I realized how they cut it, and I don't feel as bad because it was for the movie's sake, but I still feel kind of bad because they cut a whole, pretty much entire different universe, just completely gone.
Yeah. So let's see. So after, of course, Rey has been captured, we do see, another little community, you're my guest, and we see, and then we see, him taking his helmet off, and perhaps, I've heard this somewhere else, that perhaps in that little area is like the ashes of Vader. I'm not sure if you guys have heard that.
No, I've not heard that, but that's what it looked like to me. I was like, oh, has somebody been burning there? You know what I mean? Because it was very much a lot of ashes. Dush. And the sound of it was like it's really heavy. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely put that sound in post, because that was a slam.
Really smack. And even when he drops it on the walkway, it goes bang. Oh, there's one other thing now I just wanted to bring up is, do you know when he captures Rey? When she's running through that forest? I suddenly thought, I don't know how you thought this, Luke, but do you know the bit where Luke in Empire goes into the tree, yeah? And he sees Vader come round to him? That's how it sort of played out to me. I thought, oh, wow, she's having another Force vision of her running into Kylo Ren. You know what I mean? Somewhere in that forest is somewhere that's mystical, like, you know, the Force flows there. But then they didn't. He was actually there in real life. I thought that's the way they were going with that.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been interesting, but I like the way that they sort of, like, almost rickrolled you in that sense.
Yeah, and the way he grabbed her, that looked kind of painful.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, boom, you know what I mean? I thought, he is so powerful. He is
and then
super powerful.
I mean, the way of knocking her out, I'm not really sure what kind of force power you would call that, but...
No, I've not heard of anything like that in the books. You've read a lot of the books, Luke.
I've never actually seen anything of the sort, really, except in Star Wars The Old Republic, the video game, when you would use that to stun a character. You would do something of the sort to stun her, but they never knocked her out, or knocked the person out, so...
Because they've used Force visions in the novels. I know that. But I've never seen anything that, you know, literally pulling the information out of people. Never. That's a new one. That's good. I like that.
Yeah, that's a lot of new stuff that I never would have connected.
That interrogation scene, I like that. Were you expecting him to take his helmet off at that point?
I mean, I think at some point he was going to do his evil talk, you know, where he, you know, finally reveals himself or something. I'm not that surprised that he did.
Were you expecting him to look more different? Because I know they released some photos, but I thought to myself, yeah, is that just for the magazine, or are they really going to do his face slightly scarred or something?
Yeah, I really liked his look, how they portray him in the movie.
Wait, are we talking about Snoke?
No,
Kylo Ren.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I really like because obviously, you know, they put some kind of makeup on him to make him look much more pale than the actor is.
Oh, yeah.
He looks so different.
Definitely. If you were to take a look at his actor with the beard, he looks a completely different person.
It does. I thought, is that him? Just in with his hair, you know. He didn't have helmet hair, did he?
No, he had very illustrious hair.
My wife said, you know, the noise of his helmet coming off. She said they must be the little fans that buff his hair out. I really did like how he looked, because he was quite young, so you can understand him having these tantrums. Because he's a mixed up kid, isn't he? He's just purely mixed up.
Yeah, he's really, really, really confused. A lot of stuff is going on in that guy's head.
And then you've got the sound effects of the Force, and then the Force going against Force. I like that.
Oh yes, great. I want to talk again. I want to talk about General Hux, played by Domhnall Gleeson. I've seen him in as far as like starring roles. I saw him in About Time, the Rachel McAdams kind of sort of a chick flick, but it's kind of a time travel kind of thing. I saw it in that, and then just this past May, around the release of Age of Ultron, they came out with Ex Machina, which stars. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but that also stars Domhnall Gleeson, and it stars Oscar Isaac. And,
I've seen it.
And it's a really good film. And
he looks totally different as well from that film to this.
Yeah, and he also had a small part in Brooklyn, another an Irish American film. So
I just want to point out a role that he played that very popular actually. He's a Weasley from Harry Potter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you beat me to it.
Oh. I'm so sorry.
He's actually the character you interact with in Harry Potter World in the Gringotts ride.
He's that guy. Okay,
that's him. Yeah, that's him. Because when I went at the beginning of last year, I was like, it's Weasley. Yeah, I know him. But he was also. Is any you seen the Dread? It's just Dread, but just Dread that came out a couple of years ago.
Oh, was that the one that was the fairly recent one?
Oh, the Keith Urban one. Yeah.
Yeah, he played. I think he was an albino in it. He was the guy who was on the computer.
Oh, that sounds about right.
Yeah, he played him as well.
Let me IMDb that for you.
As you're doing that, Luke, I want to also talk about Snoke. So, what do you guys think? Jamie, what do you think about Snoke's look? And obviously, we thought he was a giant at first, but then we see that he's a hologram, and with this movie they changed it up a little bit because before holograms had just been this like clear bluish, but now it looks a little more lifelike.
Yes, there was no interference, was it? The line was clear on this one. I thought Andy Serkis, who played him, I thought he did a brilliant, fantastic actor, a mocap actor. His voice was fantastic. But the look, I liked the look of him, but it was proper CGI. You know what I mean? That was the only proper CGI you could say, it's fake. But I did like the look of him. And I like the gash down. Did you see the gash in his head? Like he's had some kind of proper bad wound there. Now, there's a lot of talk on the internet that he might be Darth Plagueis.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, because, number one, from a story, they would have just completely ignored. That would be ignoring the prequels, I suppose. I killed him in my. He says they didn't directly say I killed my master Darth Plagueis in his sleep, but they kind of hinted at the fact that
In the book, they did.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
In the book, he gets straight up killed in his sleep.
Right.
But is that canon now?
The book should be because his character's canon.
Yeah.
That's my theory of it because they haven't done anything to prove it not in canon.
Right.
It's just that if you listen to the speech that Palpatine says, he actually says that Darth Plagueis actually managed to sort of raise the dead and make life using the Force. And there is some speculation that it's because of Darth Plagueis that you've got Anakin Skywalker. It was because of him using the midichlorians produce Anakin Skywalker.
And another thing is that I'm kind of surprised that they would even, because if you bring in Darth Plagueis, how do you not bring in the midichlorians, which is something I thought Lucasfilm would want to avoid because that got a very negative reaction out of fans. So if anything, I thought they would just stay clear of Plagueis. I think it's more of almost like an influence, like a inspiration or something.
Also, another thing to further prove that it's not Plagueis. Plagueis is an entirely different species than Snoke. Plagueis is the species of those banking clan guys.
Really long faces, haven't they?
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah.
I think that we last saw them. It was in a Clone Wars.
It was a Clone Wars arc in season 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with Luke.
And just want to go back to my little IMDb thing. He wasn't Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought I spotted him. Yeah, because his dad played Mad-Eye Mooney in the Harry Potter series as well.
Yeah. There's a picture of both his dad and him.
Yeah, and he's proper Irish when you see him. Just talking on proper Irish. But can I talk about his speech that he did?
Oh yeah.
That was some powerful. Yeah, that is one powerful speech he did there, and it's proper. Just like you see on the old World War II, when they did, and you get Hitler talking to his crowds. Proper, it was so much like that. It was unbelievable. That speech was just so powerful, and you could see the red in his eyes of how angry he was.
Heil Hux.
Now, would you have liked to have seen an older person play that? Because at the time I was expecting like an admiral from the original classic, that survived the Battle of Endor and was promoted, so he knew just what these people were like. Or were you quite satisfied with
the first time around I wanted someone older. Second time around I was very alright with Dom Halls Gleason's character.
I was.
It just took me 2 times around.
And did you notice the power struggle between him and Kylo?
Oh, yeah.
It seemed sometimes he was afraid of him, and sometimes he were like, "I'm going to backstab you, mate. I'm the chief."
Yeah, like the one time with the BB-8 droid, he's like, Kylo didn't want to get the BB-8 droid because he had the girl.
Okay, so the next thing, my notes get a little sketchy here. I got too engrossed in the film and I go straight to something else.
They fired the weapon.
Oh, yes.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but to power that weapon, they have to drain the energy from the sun, yeah?
Yes.
So would that be one shot, one sun?
Well, probably because Also, I have another question about that. If they were to drain an entire sun, wouldn't that create a black hole?
I don't know.
But now, on my second time I watched it, I could have sworn that the Resistance said that the Starkiller base has sublight engines built into it, so it can travel from one system to another, right? I don't know if you guys have probably seen it more times than me, but
I've seen it only 3 times, so...
Same.
You've seen it one more time than me, then.
Oh.
So I'm dead sure they said, because they said that it's got a shield on it. So, because I thought, how can they move that planet? But it has got a shield on it, and it has got engines. So I take it that when it fired its first shot, it was in that system.
Yeah.
What system was it called?
Iranian? Not Iranian.
The Bosnian system?
Something. Yeah, I'm sure it's that. Now, did you guys think, knowing he said, we will strike at the heart of the Senate, and it was going to be Coruscant. They destroyed Coruscant. On my first view, and I thought they destroyed Coruscant.
I mean,
thank God it wasn't Coruscant.
Yeah, because I think because then that would just destroy like the capital of the previous empire. So I guess I'm kind of happy they didn't do that, because then that would just completely take out any. I mean, that would definitely be putting the past behind us. That would definitely, if they blew up Coruscant, they'd be like, okay, that's one less prequel planet we have to deal with, or something like that.
Even though it wasn't created for prequels.
That's true. That's true.
It's just the way he said, we'll destroy them at the heart of it. And where else is the heart of the Senate, the Republic, is Coruscant. But when you actually saw the planet that gets destroyed, it very much looks like Coruscant. So I thought they probably had Coruscant targeted, when they were making the film. And then somebody went, I don't think we should. So then they changed the system.
Yeah.
They probably need it. You can't really destroy that planet. For the one thing, it's where the Emperor and it's where Vader lived. And Kylo Ren seemed to be a collector of Darth Vader artifacts. So, I think if they said, yeah, we're going to destroy Coruscant, he'd probably say, no, that's where my grandfather was from.
Yeah.
That's a theory for you.
All right.
Can we jump into the lightsaber fight?
Actually, I did skip one little part.
Okay.
Rey testing her Jedi powers. You will open this sword. You will unlock these chains, and you will open the door. I thought that was very cool. And of course, that is. I'm not sure if you guys noticed it, but I listened carefully on.
Oh yes.
That is Daniel Craig.
Do you know what his serial number is?
I know it.
I forget.
JB007.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
And I loved how there was so many cameos of, well, you wouldn't know them, but there were so many famous people actually in Stormtrooper outfits walking around there.
Oh, yeah.
You had, I think you had the composer of Jurassic World, is it Michael? What's his name? Giacchino. Yeah, he was a Stormtrooper. Let me just find what his name was.
While you're doing that, I would just like to point out a cameo. Because you know how they had the lightsaber choreographer in episode 2 or 3 as a Jedi?
Yeah.
In this one, they had the person who would create like the languages for the different species. He was the guy with the long hair and the white long hair and the beard in the Resistance battle room who said,
yes.
It's another Death Star.
His name is Andrew Jack, Major Emmett.
Oh, yeah.
And Michael Giacchino, is it? He played FN 3181. Now, I'm wondering what that means, because it seems that their numbers mean something.
FN might be year of or something.
But I was looking at the number 3181. I wondered if that was like a track listing or something. I don't know. Perhaps not.
I'm surprised we didn't get any THX 1138 references.
Yeah. I was looking for something like that because it's like you had the battle droids on with it on the back.
Yeah, and then we had that episode in the Clone Wars where one of the training sims was called THX 1138.
Perhaps they are. We're just not caught them, because I know there's a lot of videos out there with the Easter eggs you might have missed.
And then did you guys catch the Wilhelm scream in the beginning?
Yeah. I have to say, that's one thing that I look out for in every movie I see.
Oh, yeah.
And I always have to shout it out to anyone who's sitting next to me. Oh, do you hear that?
I love the Wilhelm screams.
I do.
It's great.
I like how they use it. Now that scene where she tries out the Force powers, that was just so funny. I was laughing with that, especially how it goes out to drop a gun as well. And walks out.
Yeah, but it took her a couple tries to get it. So I like how they like slowly evolved her Jedi powers throughout the movie. But I think because some people were criticizing that it was like wow, she became a Jedi way too fast after just realizing she was Force sensitive. And I was like, well, I would think Kylo Ren had something to do with that when trying to access her mind.
You reckon that? Do you reckon it was because of him pushing in, released something, it had unblocked something?
Awakened something.
Awakened something, yeah. So it wasn't the saber?
Well, probably a mixture of both.
Yeah. So I do want to talk about next the lightsaber battle between Kylo Ren and Finn. So overall, what did you guys think of this lightsaber battle?
Well, the Finn versus Kylo or Rey versus Kylo?
Finn versus Kylo.
Short-lived.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would agree with that. I mean, I think it makes sense that Finn would know some kind of fighting,
especially showing
skills.
the trooper with the stun baton.
Yeah, I think that was smart that they did that to show that he had some kind of skills.
I've heard that, I think I read it somewhere on StarWars.com, but the stormtroopers were actually trained in the art of saber fighting. Perhaps you'll know. I'm sure I've read it somewhere. So basically, he does know how to wield a saber, but of course not use the Force. And I've had this conversation with my son about that because he said, "Oh, how could he use a lightsaber that much?" Like that. And I said, well, if you put it into the realms of sword fighting, you could be really well trained in sword fighting and go against somebody that's even better and lose because he's just trained better. So can you imagine if Kylo Ren hadn't used any of the Force with his skills, but Finn used all of his skill that he was trained, it could have been a different outcome to that battle. And he did hold his own, if you look at it.
Hey, wait a sec.
Put a bit of damage onto Ren.
Did we skip over the death of Han?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I thought you wanted to go back to that.
Yes.
I thought you wanted to do that last.
I say we go and do it now.
Okay.
So what did you guys think of... This was a powerful moment, I thought. It was just the whole that Leia was like, you can bring our son back. And I think it was well... The way they did it, I think it was well performed and well done. I just think, he's like, like you said, the crying Kylo... or the
Kylo Ren and Darth Tantrum.
Now, I have to say that scene, it had me. Now, I deliberately stayed off spoilers, so for some reason, never seen it coming. I've just been totally blind. Didn't see it coming. So when it happened, it totally shocked me. When my wife saw it, she says, I saw it coming. And no end of people said, I saw it coming, but I didn't. I think I was so engrossed in the moment, I didn't see it coming.
I saw it coming, and then when he held out the lightsaber and then started doing that speech before the sun went down, I was like, oh my god, he actually might turn good. And then the sun went away, I was like, oh, it's happening.
Yep.
But that dialogue... Oh, go on, Luke, go on.
Oh, another thing I'd like to say about this whole thing. Star Wars is keeping up with the tradition. Main character death per beginning of arc, or trilogy, with Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and now Han Solo.
So who's going to be the next one?
Well, we have to wait another 4 movies to figure that out.
Yeah.
Or three movies.
That scene, that speech, how it was really close up to Ben. We found out his name was Ben Solo. He delivered that. It brought me to tears because the speech, I'm torn up. Will you help me? Because I'm not sure I can do what needs to be done. And and Han Solo goes, yeah, anything, I'll help you. So it was like a total surprise to me.
I think another thing to mention is the fact that I think this character could be based on Jason Solo. From Legends, I think is a very good bet, and I just think.
Sadly, they stole Luke Skywalker's son's name.
I think that's very cool. Well, I guess I got Ben. I guess I kind of just assumed that the Solos would have just named Ben after Ben Kenobi, versus in the U where they named Ben Skywalker after Ben Kenobi.
Yeah.
Do you know? Funny you should say that. Jonathan. I was in the Disney store yesterday, and this man was looking at a Kylo Ren doll for his son. and he kept saying, "Is this Jason? Is this Jay? Yeah, this is Jason." And so I actually turned around and went, "No, forget about Jason. It's Kylo Ren now." He's like, "Oh, is it really?" Oh.
That's sad.
Yeah, that is kind of sad.
Yeah, I quite like them books.
Those are good. I really missed them.
So let's see what else. So now let's get back to where we were before we get to this. What did you guys
also,
think?
just sorry, Jonathan. Sorry, I keep pointing on you, but know that scene when Han got killed? Did you expect Chewie to go really ape? Sort of,
I kind of expected it.
I wanted to see him sort of like get, when he screamed out, and I was hoping that some stormtroopers would grab him, and then he just goes, rah, just rips their arms off.
We never got really that. I really wanted that.
Yeah.
We have yet to see him rip the arms off, except in a Lego game, which really surprised me. It was a Lego game that they did that in.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, you're right. I felt really sorry for Chewie. I thought, oh my god, but Chewie got shot him.
He shot his nephew, or pretty much nephew, in the stomach.
And I think that's kind of what people have give the justification for the fact that he's a little he actually doesn't like totally take Rey out. The fact that he's weak in battle from that shot.
Another thing is, I think his swordplay really is weak compared to his force.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Now, there's a reason for the swordplay, the way the swordplay is, because if I remember rightly, JJ didn't want all the acrobats, acrobatical steel, gymnastics kind of thing from the prequels. He wanted something that was very, very raw, very, very one-on-one, right up close.
Though Rey was stabbing him, kind of like what
fencing.
Yeah, fencing, kind of like what Palpatine did when he did that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
like the poking. So it's kind of a similar poking kind of thing.
Also, can I say something? When Kylo Ren was on the bridge and Chewie shot him, and then he stared up at Finn and them. What they could have done and they didn't do, and that kind of upset me, but I know why they didn't do it. He could have easily force jumped up to that part.
But what got me more than anything, Luke, is there's no handrails. Why is it no handrails?
So
who builds those things?
Fall off the edge.
Yeah, but you're right. He would have force ran or something when he.
Yeah, he would have done something of the sort. But again, JJ not believing in the true Star Wars.
But why did Finn and Rey climb up there just to climb back down?
To watch the outcome? I don't know, really.
Did you notice that? Perhaps you noticed it, Jonathan, as well. Was on that whole scene, you had it was all bright light. The light shining down on him, but the moment he started to turn back, the moment Kylo Ren wanted to kill his father, it went red. The sun had gone down, it went red.
Yes, it's very, very cool.
Brilliant.
Definitely
Very good.
So what did you guys think of this X-wing battle? I thought it was really cool with all these X-wing going over the water and such.
The water was when to Maz Kanadra's place, wasn't it? Yeah. But the other battle was over the actual
right
over the forest, wasn't it? It was all that was good. And what I liked about that, it wasn't in your face. It was there. It didn't look like there was that many X-wings against the TIE fighters.
Right. Another thing about the TIE fighter, it's cool that I'm glad that earlier in the movie we got to see the inside of one and the fact that they were like two people. So I thought that was kind of cool. Kind of a different design of the TIE fighter.
Yeah. Much bigger in the inside.
Right. This is an attack on Starkiller Base, kind of like the attack on the Death Star. So I can see how people are like, oh yeah, it's just a retread. But
it was a really big trench run ripoff. Made me sad.
It was a trench run, wasn't it? And it's a good job they're using those Ralph McQuarrie designs of the X-wings that are really super slim, that could go through a super slim gap.
Oh, speaking of Ralph McQuarrie designs, I just really want to touch base on this really quick. That stun baton trooper with the shield and stuff, that was based off a Ralph McQuarrie design for a stormtrooper because he would wield a shield and a lightsaber.
Yeah, you're right.
Now we can go back to the X-run trench run.
I think we go ahead and I'm starting to get tired, and I'm sure Jamie is starting to get tired.
Yeah, it's 2:10 here.
Yes. So I think we can kind of get ready to wrap this thing up, but I think overall the Kylo Ren battle was solid. We kind of, in the original
solid.
In the original Star Wars, it was very basic, and in this, it's a little bit of an upgrade from the original Star Wars. Not as action heavy and as long as like the Empire lightsaber battle, but still, I think
it was good.
Still a good couple battles. A couple of lightsaber battles for this first Star Wars movie, and I definitely expect them to go up from here and maybe see Luke bring out his lightsaber.
Yeah. Did you see how Kylo were punching that blaster bolt to wind himself up, get the anger going so he could defeat him? So he very much doubting his own powers at that point, that he had to draw on something else than apart from his own skill. Especially that bit where the lightsaber went flying out of his hand. Missed him and went straight into her hands.
Yep. Another thing. So I guess we're kind of after Starkiller Base explodes, or is destroyed. We do get shortly after R2 wakes up. And this is probably, if I have any problems with the film, this is probably the one that stands out. R2, did he have the map, the other part of the map, the whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
So that's, that really, I think all the other stuff I've, between you guys and other podcasts and on the internet and such, explanations to defend a lot of the other stuff. This, I haven't really found a good defense, unless R2 was waiting for Starkiller Base to blow up or something, and he was waiting for all the chaos to end. So it
didn't JJ say that when BB-8 initially went up to him and sort of butted him, and then C-3PO said, "Oh, there's no good speaking to him. He's in a coma," sort of thing. But JJ said that BB-8 had said to R2, "Have you got the rest of the map?" And basically that's been going around all these circuits in his head until eventually, "Hey, hold on, I do have the map." That's what he said. That's what he says.
I will be curious when I get to. I've only started the novelization, but when I get to that part, I will be curious. Have you heard anything, Luke, about that part of the novelization? If they go into anything else?
No.
Okay.
I will tell you though once I read the novelization.
All right. But yeah, I think that's really kind of like I don't think it got to me like on the first viewing necessarily, because I was just so hyped. But on that second viewing, and the more I thought about it, I was like, oh my gosh, this definitely takes this film from like absolutely great, absolutely fantastic to like really, really great. But it loses a bit. I think if they had made that, like maybe, I don't know, if they could just make that a little better, the movie for me would have been much better. But I think overall, a really great film. But we still do have. You guys have anything else about that before we go on to the final scene?
Yeah. Did you also notice that C-3PO had his gold arm?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought there was no explanation. He just had it back on.
Yeah.
That's explained in the one shot.
Yeah, that's another story for another time. I must admit, when I was watching it and that whole scene where R2 woke up and then interacted, I thought, well, that's convenient. That's very convenient. But I can also understand why he had the maps, because there's one thing the prequel told us was that the Empire liked deleting maps and deleting systems. And even, I think, was it Kylo that said it, or was it Hux, said that they had plans from the original Empire. They had downloaded them themselves.
I didn't understand that. They got the map to Luke Skywalker through the Empire, so that made me reading, how new is the First Order, and how long has Luke Skywalker been in hiding?
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
Well,
and another thing is I felt like I heard that.
That is a good question, because
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you were saying how new is the First Order is? How long did it take them to do that planet? It seems how big it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then one more thing. I felt like I heard something about R2D2 got the plans uploaded to him from some sort of source, like the rest of the map was uploaded to his systems.
Yeah, on A New Hope. Know when he plugged himself into the mainframe of the Death Star, and if you remember, the screen above him started showing him images.
Yeah.
It shows you they say it's showing you images of the Death Star, the floor by floor by floor, but it also downloads the entire records and star charts and everything of the Empire at that precise moment, and that's why he knew literally everything at that time.
Interesting. All right. So what did you guys think about this final walk up the mountain? Of course, I did hear that someone says like, "Oh, you could have just dropped Rey off at the top." But then I'm just like, you know what? You really have to. You really have to. It's much more powerful. It's not just like, "Hey, Luke, what's up?" You know, it's just like, it just wouldn't be as powerful.
It was great, but for one thing, and I bet Luke can also say what it is, was I was expecting her to say, "I think this is yours," and how long did he just stare at it while she was holding it out? Like,
I was expecting them both to at least say one thing.
Yeah.
Both of them, just one thing, and then the movie would end. But I didn't get that, so...
Yeah.
I was
that 20 to 30 minutes
something.
of cut dialogue.
Yeah, maybe.
Cut stuff.
I still thought it was very powerful the way he just kind of just stared at it and just kind of bowed. He kind of like put his head down like for a second, and then kind of put it back up, just like sort of almost
great,
a nod.
didn't he?
Yes,
he looked great. I thought, he must have had the most easiest. When that production photo you saw a couple of years ago, where they're all sitting around the round table sort of thing, talking, going through the script. He must have gone. What page am I on? Is this me? Where? Am I at the end? Yeah. What's my lines? Just look at that.
Just stare. Dot.
Just
Stares intently.
That one scene I've heard. Right, to what I've been reading on the internet afterwards, that some people said there's an X-wing. You can actually see an X-wing hidden somewhere in that scene. Now I've looked, didn't see it.
What? An X-wing? I didn't see anything of the sort.
Yeah, I did, but it's on the net. They reckon that you can just see a fleeting glimpse of like the nose cone of the X-wing, of his X-wing. I didn't see it, and they're also saying he's actually standing next to a grave. Now
I did not see that either.
No, I didn't either. But people. There's one thing. Can I just say? There's one thing that I have noticed on Facebook. There's a lot of people that have started posting shot for shots of the film that I think they've been doing some seriously illegal downloading, because those shots are just not anywhere. That you have to probably look somewhere to get them shots. And that whole scene, I think, is on the net now, of him turning around and her holding the lightsaber to him. But it's what people have been saying about that place he's at. Is it the first Jedi temple? Is it supposed to be the first Jedi temple?
The first Jedi temple's supposed to be on Tython.
Not anymore.
Why?
No! Is that according to Dark Horse Comics or to Marvel Comics?
BioWare's video games.
Oh, them.
Also Dark Horse Comics.
Dark Horse Comics, yeah.
And a couple of the Del Rey books.
Non-canon.
Non-canon.
Yeah, not a G-level canon.
Not G-level.
But I enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
Totally enjoyed the film. I was like, yes, it is a retelling of A New Hope in one respect, wasn't it? It was sort of beat for beat from a certain point of view.
Yep.
You could say it was.
But from another point of view, it's completely different.
Yeah, but in one respect, JJ has given us exactly what we wanted.
That is true.
Exactly what I wanted. It is a proper, this is going to tug on all your heartstrings film.
Yep.
And that's why it's going to make $1 billion.
Oh, no, not $1 billion.
Yeah.
You need a small one of $1 million for that.
All right, so I guess we can go ahead and play that other audio you have.
Yeah, okay. The audio is basically after I'd seen the film with my friend, he was driving me home, and we decided to have a quick discussion immediately what we thought.
The film's finished. We're on a drive back home. Thoughts about it, Mick? No spoilers, of course. From start to finish, what did you think?
Well, I was absolutely gripped by it, to be honest with you. From start to finish, I thought to myself, let's see how it pans out. But I was really impressed. I never looked at my watch once, so the time just flew by, and I always rate a film when you can say that about it.
Yeah, I felt from start to finish, it was a really good hero's journey.
Yeah, agree.
And to me, it did feel a bit beat to beat with the original film.
Yeah.
But it still had enough to keep me gripped.
Yeah, there were subtle changes in it that made it worthwhile.
The effects were just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I thought were the best I've seen.
Yeah, effects were absolutely brilliant, and the 3D was spot on.
Did you notice? Do you know with the opening crawl that the stars behind really look like proper retro, like it was in '77?
Yeah.
I just thought, wow, they've captured that. I thought Finn was fantastic as a character.
Yeah,
he really did have the comedy beats of a
young Solo,
and he made me chuckle no end of times. And he will be a fantastic hero.
Yeah.
In the saga.
They all will be. I mean, you know, all the new characters. Rey, I thought she played it really well, and obviously, you know, I'm saying no spoilers or anything like that. There's a lot of scope there.
Yeah, there is. What did you think about Kylo Ren as a character?
Personally, myself, I thought the actual character was just a tad weak, but I think. Let's face it, you've got a big shoes to step into. Darth Vader's
That's right.
Like,
he has, hasn't he?
He's just number one, and I'm sorry, as far as I'm concerned, he always will be number one as the arch villain.
Yeah.
He just had a presence. The presence, I think, with Ren didn't seem to daunt me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think he composed. They needed. I'm sorry to say, but they needed somebody big like Dave Prowse. Obviously not now, but I mean, that kind of size.
What I was really impressed with was the amount of power he could wield. I was like, whoa! Yeah. This guy is powerful. You know what I mean?
Very much so.
You know, what is his backstory? Of course, we now know his backstory. Well, part of his backstory, which I take it in the next films, it'll be explained more, which is kind of exciting. But I felt that when you saw him, he was Adam Driver, the actor, when he did take off his mask, and you did see him. That's not a spoiler either, because it's in some of the publicity. I thought, there is something about him where, you know, and I felt like he, you know, I did feel for him. I did feel, and I thought, well, this guy is lost. He feels lost to me.
Yeah, you can't say too much because that would give the game away.
True. Yeah, you can't say much, but he's got scope as well. I think the character has got a scope. What about this Supreme Snork? What was it? Was it Snork? Snork? Or something like that?
He looked like
Andy Serkis.
Colin's dad.
It was Andy Serkis. Yeah. That was the only CGI character that I thought was really CGI. Do you know what I mean?
I thought the female version of Yoda was quite cute.
Yeah. Do you know, for life of me, I can't remember what her name is. I'm so engrossed. I'll have to look it up. Yet again, I forgot the name of her main title. When she was explaining the Force as well, which I thought was really good, really good, and I like the journey that lightsaber, the original lightsaber, took as well. I thought that was really good as well. So in general, I really did enjoy it. I thought it was a proper blast from the past. Have to say, it is an emotional ride. Laughed, cried.
Yeah.
I do want more. I'm going to go back and see it. Breathtaking.
Yeah, breathtaking.
The effects. What do you reckon to the effects?
Yeah, the effects top notch, definitely.
The effects with the Falcon. I just wanted to go whoa every time. I was like whoa every time you've seen it. Whoa, and I just thought to myself, these scenes are just beautiful. I could have those scenes on my wall as posters.
I wouldn't be. Well, posters. Sorry, I'd go a little step further. Wallpaper.
Wallpaper, yeah, or paintings. You know what I mean? Some of them were fantastic, and it took my breath away, mate. Yeah. It took my breath away, and it's certainly.
I travelled back in time myself, actually, to 1977. Yeah, and I was quite taken back, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it, and it will be seen again on several occasions.
It will be, so yeah. Okay, well, we'll finish there because it is exactly 6 minutes past 3 in the morning, and I've got a long journey back to Leeds, and you've got your bed.
And I've got my bed.
All right, so thanks, Mick. So this is Mick and Jamie for Radio Free Endor. We'll see you next time. See you later. Bye-bye. Bye.
So, thanks for coming on, Jamie and Luke. Great feedback. Thanks for giving us your thoughts about after the movie, and I'm sure happy about getting all sorts of other thoughts on this podcast, because after this 3 weeks after the movie or so. Yeah, and thanks for staying up so late with us. I know it's late there. All right. Okay, so Jamie, if people want to know what's going on with you, where should they follow you? Like Twitter?
Right, you can follow me on Twitter on Jamie_R_Burns. I'm on Twitter on that, and on Facebook, a Facebook page for building props called Burns' Garage of Dreams, if you'd like to nip there and have a quick look.
Yeah. Luke?
You can find me on Twitter at ninjaz10_, and that's about it.
All right, cool. And you can find me at JBell49er. You can follow Radio Free Endor at Radio Free Endor, or the Best Picture Twitter, picture_radio. This episode should go out to Radio Free Endor first, and then it'll go to Big Picture Radio. So, but hopefully not too much time in between. But hopefully, I did say in the last Big Picture Radio to check out the Radio Free Endor first if you want to hear the review first. So yeah, so then you can also go to all the other SMG podcasts and such. Lots of stuff to listen to. Leave us a review on iTunes for your chance to become. Oh yeah, also I would like to announce that Jamie, you are one of the hosts of the new Radio Free Endor.
Fantastic. That's great news. That is brilliant. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. I've been talking with Jamie a lot about doing it, and you got some great ideas, the show, and this is sort of a, handing over of the torch, and I know we'll get someone great for you. We've been talking to a lot of Rebel Legion, 501st, a lot of those kind of people. Who knows, maybe we'll get someone there, or another organization. Hopefully not too many of these late nights, but, if we get someone from America, so, yep, it's all good. All right, but yeah, if you still want to audition for Big Picture Radio or Radio Free Endor, just go to bigpictureradio@gmail.com or radiofreeendor@gmail.com. All right, so for Luke and Jamie, thank you for listening.